Alright, so again, this is first time. I don't know where any of these teams land. Like Sentinels, even though I reviewed that, I do know a lot of their playstyle. I know a lot of where they go and a lot of the places they hold.
Yeah, we're in. Pick your champ.
They have a very disciplined game style that works very well for them. So I just don't know. I don't know anything about EU's side of things. This is the first glimpse.
They're going left side again.
They're going like middle.
But Gibraltar, I can't imagine Gibraltar won't fall out.
Follow me for now. Follow me for now.
He's such a
I'm letting go
comfort
W for a second.
I got you.
That teammate dropping here. I'm taking the diner.
Also, this is also a big thing. A lot of amateur teams don't do.
There, my
Be smart about the way you drop. Don't just drop randomly. I think there's only, what, one team contesting them? Watson's a lot harder to play than Jibby. I don't know about that.
I got a purple head.
Watson's not, it's not Watson that's hard to play. It's the positioning required for Watson. And that could be on any character. I think Gibraltar's abilities require a lot more of an experienced player. Watson's abilities are easy to use. But she's like, you can stick anybody on Watson and be good on Watson, right? It's more so the mentality of the player as a support player, more so than actually playing Watson. Jibby is a lot harder to use because you actually have to, like, if you don't use your dome properly, you'd probably, or your ult properly, you'll probably just die. So I don't know Matafe, or shit, I went too far. I don't know Matafe's teams. I don't know their playstyle. I don't know anything about them. So I'm just gonna talk about like this circle as like a general sentiment, and we'll see what happens. All right, so most teams are gonna read that. Most teams are probably gonna disregard train yard here. It can pull train yard, but most teams will probably disregard it, and they'll focus more on cap city fuel. At first glance, it looks like it's gonna be that pussy post circle right out here. I'm sure most teams will probably read it that way. A lot of the strong power spots, obviously, if you have the gear to sustain it, and I say that because this tower is actually kind of behind the play button, is actually hard to hold without any gear. If somebody pokes at you and sees all three whites, they'll probably just fucking kill you at some point. But obviously it is a very strong point to hold. All these houses in Fuel Depot are relatively equal. It's tough to say which one's really stronger. Probably the one in the corner is one of the strongest because you can actually have most control of a lot of like the surrounding area of fuel. But Capital, obviously, any of these two buildings are really, really fucking strong. Any teams on this east side, this little elbow is strong. When it's this circle, I know Sentinels loves playing this elbow, and they do a really fucking good job at it. So those are basically a lot of the strong spots in the circle. Anything else is kind of just like a spot for positioning.
I'll ping. Okay, nice.
It's gonna be a south side.
Yes,
What's up, Kyan? They're a new team, yeah. I haven't watched like any of just like anything, so I don't know.
Okay?
Jibby is a 5-head legend. Like, yeah, he's fucking annoying to play, but like, for example, not many people talk about like, oh, this person is such a better Watson than this person. It's more so the notion of a support player, because Watson's abilities are easy to use. It's not hard at all. And they can also be very easily microed, even if your Watson sucks at your abilities. You can just be like, yo, put walls here, put your ult here. Like, that's easy. Jibby, you actually have to like know, like, your team will live and die by your bubble, depending on how good it is, and that's up to the Gibraltar. His ult is also very crucial too, but more so his dome.
I'm dropping 2 arcs. So,
I firmly believe Jibby's way harder to play than Watson.
I'll take that.
So.
I think actually this is gonna.
Because like I said, nothing about Watson is relatively hard. It's more so that you're an immobile support character. Or like a character that lacks mobility.
Yeah.
Alright, let's replay there for now.
It's like, it's not that hard. Like, it's not a big difference like playing Watson versus like Lifeline, for example.
Wait, the main is closed.
It's just not like, it's the same general notion.
Yeah.
Scrim's Jibby's hardest legend to play. Yeah, I agree.
Wait,
Jibby's actually like really tough.
Oh my god, you're so far away.
Because I thought we were rotating to the truck. You got it 2x.
No, I need a
so I think this is actually the first. This is actually the first Jibby team. I just realized that I'm actually reviewing. All the 3 teams I've reviewed so far are all Pathfinder teams. So if this is a Pathfinder team, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing right now? Get to the fucking circle. But right here, this play, like this is kind of like a little bit of what Golden Guardians do. A lot of what Golden Guardians would make sense to me if they had a Jibby. So this is totally fine play from a Jibby team. Jibby can play most. If you get like middle circle with a Jibby, you'll probably be pretty good in, like,
take
you're
time
probably
to do it,
pretty
huh?
set.
We're
But
not
you're
gonna go there.
perfectly fine playing out here and looting a little bit extra more.
I'm going
This is
top
one of those
left.
things like
Let's do
Jimmy
that
just
anyway,
allows. It's a comfort pick. It allows you to make more, allows you to loot more. It allows you to make more like rotational errors because he can fix them if you're just good at fighting.
Alright, let's go back through.
Ult.
Sorry.
Nice, I'll pick.
They're quick
I'm
about
gonna
it.
get
Yeah.
two
Quick about it. It all depends
I got 6 health.
on how fast you. I
giving
mean, like
you,
looting. It all depends on how much you want to loot
Watch
Skyhook.
out
If their
for
goal is to
people
loot
playing
everything,
down.
then yeah. I mean, they have a Jibby, so they don't. It's not important for them necessarily to be
drop
that
into
far
us.
out,
Yeah, wait for me.
or that. It's not important for
Wait,
them to be
sorry,
as
wait.
fast.
I'm not moving him.
Oh,
All right,
yo,
so
yo,
it's not
yo,
going to be
yo, yo.
tower. Let's look at this. So it's not going to be tower. It's pulling a little bit north more. This spot, if a team already had it, these two spots are still very strong spots. We got I'll list a couple of the endings that could be here. Recently, as of like the past couple of weeks, I know GLL, like right around GLL, there's a train tracks ending like right here. Again, I don't know any of these endings. I didn't watch any of these games, so I don't actually know where it goes. There's an ending right here, which obviously these two spots are like the big power spots. There is an ending out here, which is I've seen a more common one. I would have to, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably going to end out here. It could still pull back here, unlikely though. Could pull out to these other directions, but I'm going to guess that it's one of these two, for sure, or like the bridge. I'll include the bridge there too, because it can be the bridge sometimes.
I think we go there right now and take the building here. No one's taking
Yeah.
it yet.
So
Yeah.
again, obviously they're going to take as much real estate as they can, and you should, obviously. But as I keep reiterating,
Yeah,
No team rotating right
go
now
for it.
in the over the street. I think we take the zip. We're gonna be there first. Take the zip. Take the zip. We're gonna be there first. On the
And take
I do want to
take height.
reiterate, it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
important
well,
that you
I'm
take
gonna
a
have to,
strong spot more so than just taking the middle of the
Let's take
circle
it.
a lot. Especially as a Gibraltar, you can afford to do that.
We can't.
Damn, they got there fast,
I
actually.
ulted.
Panda. Go in. Go in.
Move down, maybe.
Drop. We need the floor. Go up, come.
KZ, are you brothers with
We can take at
QZ?
least one floor up.
Should follow.
They're up there right now.
Yeah.
I thought all teams at
Fine,
UNA
let's take
and
this,
everywhere
take
else
this.
were going to Texas. They are. Pirate. Everyone's playing in Texas. I might be at the majors, though, either as a spectator, potentially as an analyst, I hope as an analyst, or as a coach. One of the three.
Stay spread.
I think I'm
Stay
like,
spread
I
all
don't
the
want to
time
miss
so
it. I
they
want to
cannot
go
go
to at
dark
least
on
like
us.
network too, you know?
Yeah, and stay
There's
away
gonna be a
from
lot of people
elevator. That's the
Yeah.
most arch play.
If you get in trouble on stairs, you play in that corner. Is it Seri?
Again, amateur teams
So-
take
so-
note of all of these really good
probably
IGLs.
do
You guys can
You
both
should
away
always,
from the
once you're
bottom.
set up, you should always be planning a contingency plan. You should be planning, you should be telling your team what opportunity to look for. Like what house, for example, like, hey, look to see if these guys fight. This is the house we want. Like, always be communicating your primary plan and like two contingency
two
plans
seconds
if you
delay.
can. To all aspiring IGLs out there. You see this commonly in every top IGL
We
VOD.
should instantly take it. Like instantly.
Always make sure your team knows what the plan is. If you were to pop quiz them in the middle of a scrim, hey, Zerafer, what did I say a couple minutes ago that we're gonna do? They should always know what they're doing. So
I could peek through there, but I just
this
don't
is
wanna
big.
waste
It's,
ammunition.
again, comms are massive.
Yeah.
It's your job as an
Maybe they get
IGL to
lucky,
make sure your
then
team
they're all
is
gonna push
in
it.
anything.
Guys,
If you're a
we should
leader in
definitely not play
anything,
this fast,
it's your
like,
job to
very-
make sure
very-
your
very
team is
difficult
always
stuff.
on the same page.
It's fine. Try picking a little bit on stairs and shit.
Yeah, me too, Jamerson.
One of us is also helping.
Same
Oh
one.
my
He's
God,
one.
nice shots.
I'm trying to get killed. Fuck. That thunder is literally one shot.
I cracked
I'm doing
somebody.
well, D-Snake. How are you?
Yeah. Play a bit aggro. I'm healing one cell. Chat, yellow.
I hope I get to see you again in Texas. You probably will, Badoli. If anything, I'll save money and I'll get out there.
Petar is one. Petar is one.
I can do the play, but I don't the floor above.
Like, I don't want to miss it because it is a good networking opportunity, you know, meeting people. I'm not like
Yeah, it
a
works.
no one
Okay,
in the
do it,
scene
do it,
that
do
could
it.
probably walk
And-
around and talk to most people.
Yeah, but the
So-
Watson fences we've gone.
There's a lot of good reasons for me to be up there.
Do it and I'll
There we go.
RQ zip it. Oh, wait, what? You're crazy.
Ready?
You're crazy.
Wait, I'm just checking. Okay, do it. Seri, come heal. I will RQ the same time as we go.
Oh, are they gonna dome to
Okay,
break the
3,
barriers?
2, 1, go.
This
go,
is
go,
so
go, go,
smart.
Go, go, go,
This is so smart.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
well,
No one hit.
They all spread. They all
Zerafer
spread.
trolled a little bit, but that's such a smart
Hold
play
back,
right
hold
there.
back. Hold it on, hold it on.
For those that don't know what happened, it's not gonna take long for me to explain this. If you don't know, Gibraltar Shield breaks like line of sight on the Watson poles and subsequently basically disables the Watson barriers for a little bit. So that's one way to push into a Watson without having to, like, if she has really good walls set up and you can't get them, you can just jibby bubble and work around them. So while the entirety of the time that this dome is up, that fence up there is not there. So really smart play here to get to try to get a cheeky arc play out. Very, very smart play. Unfortunately, Zerfer trolled a little bit.
Oh, hold on.
No, guys, like,
What is this?
He actually went down here.
you guys and me.
I can't give me. Give me one.
Give me one downstairs.
Me.
Are they getting? They're getting third partied? No, they just actually get wiped. Okay.
Why are you hopping on zip, dude?
But what?
I want to hear how they talk it out.
Like, I was one shot. You guys go one floor above, and then you both just leave me alone and run away. Like, why are you not just holding me so I kill, and then we run straight?
I thought we were going.
I really think. I was gonna say
we were
this.
all on the same floor.
I was gonna say this. Even if they survived the fight, I really think that they should have. They weren't like. I think Matafe did misplay a little bit here. I think he was low health, but it's not hard. He had enough health, I think, to juggle to get downstairs a floor lower. He should have went back to where it's actually super fortified, because that's I think what his team did. I think they immediately went down there. Let me go back.
They all spread.
So yeah, look to see where his team drops.
Hold it on.
So look, see, they both go there.
No, guys.
Yeah, he did get fucked anyways. That's just I think it's a miscommunication. I mean, he said fall back. Both of the other two, normally, naturally, you want to fall back to where your Watson walls are. I think Matafe just misplayed here, unfortunately. He's not wrong. His team should have probably helped him, but he also should have followed his team as well. He should have been down there. A fallback call usually means you go back to where your Watson fences are. But that's tough. These elevator fights are always tough. They're so fast. They're very hectic. It can be very easy to kind of get discombobulated with your team. It's unfortunate. And they go out really early at them.
What is this?
They left him. He didn't have to jump after them. Both sides failed. Well, he called fall back. And usually a lot of teams, when they fall back, they naturally default to where their Watson stuff is set up. Which is what Zippeth and Zerfer did. You know? Hindsight, that's what he should have done. The Zippeth and Zerfer saw that he wasn't with them. There's not much they could have really done there. He died going from, just trying to juggle the zip line down into the next room. There's literally not much they could have done from here. Yeah, they could have shot up at him, but, even that's not... There's really not much they do there. Yeah, most teams know when you fall back, you go back to where your Watson's set up. There's no reason to fall back to this room. None. Because they just push it. There's no Watson fences. If I'm a team up here, and I see a Watson up here with no fences, I'm pushing that. 100%, you know what I mean? Matafe did just misplay here.
You guys and me.
I can't give me.
It's because it is hard. It is hard to, like I said, it is hard to be on the same page here. But the fallback call is what was called, and Zippeth and Zerfer did the right thing. They went back to where the Watson stuff was. I think Matafe was too scared that he was gonna get clapped before he could get down there. But I think ideally that's where he should have gone.
Miss one downstairs.
Me.
Yeah, no, Matafe is a smart player. I have watched his stream a
Why are you
little bit.
hopping on zip, dude?
But what? I don't know. I was one shot. You guys go one floor above, and then
It is risky.
leave me alone and run away.
I think Matafe had to go back, and I think he had to try to get down. Because if he doesn't go down, if he doesn't go to the next floor, this team will just kill them, 100%. I think even though he fucked up and he didn't go down to where his they were holding, he had to try. Otherwise, this team would have probably just pushed him up there on the third floor. Because most players can hear the zip and how short you hold on to it, and from that they judge on what floor you are on. So they probably knew he was on the third floor. So I think he still had to try to go down, but he definitely misplayed by just going down there in the first place.
Why are you not just holding me so I
Yeah,
kill
yeah, it's definitely started with the arc play. Zerfer trolled on the zip line a little bit, or on that. I think they should have reset after that for sure. They shouldn't have forced that. As soon as they got a really bad trade in terms of health, which I don't imagine they hit too many. As soon as they got a bad trade in terms of the health, they should have just fell back and reset and maybe tried again. Although it would have been obvious they were doing it a second time. That was where it initially fell off, or where initially the entire plan kind of derailed. But Matafe definitely. I was more assessing his post discussion. Yeah, his team probably should have tried to help him out. But there's not much they can do. At the end of the day, he shouldn't have gone to the third floor.
Then we run straight.
He could have gone through staircase, yeah. But that's tough, because it's tough to go through staircase, because usually when teams are fighting here, one player, notably mostly the Wraith, will usually play the stairs to get an extra angle so not everyone's peeking from the elevator shaft. So, the stairs are a very risky play. Would you say that it's a fight they had to take in the first place? Feels instantly after his 2 wingman shots on Wraith. I'd be inclined to say it could be worth, but well, I think so. I think the play there was like it's technically no, it's not a fight they have to take. It's simple. It's similar to the Sentinels Golden Guardian situation where like you never have to fight a team that's on your same like verticality like that. But I think they're what they a lot of teams that are normally playing next to each other like that. I think they're trying to a lot of teams look for an opening. If they can get like a quick pick on a team, you know, if they can get like a lot of big intro damage, like an arc play, then fuck it. Yeah. But I think they definitely should have backed up after the arc, after Zerafor kind of fucked the arc play. They should have backed up and just been like, nah, let's go somewhere else. Because that would have been an isolated fight for the most part. They definitely would have been able to kill them, assuming they got a good arc play. Like that play was smart. Like the idea was there, the execution was off. So I think after that, they probably should have just been like, fuck it, let's just like rotate out somewhere else. No, I'm gonna play Apex later. GG's. What happened to the arc if you arc play with the Wraith and then she Q phase? Does the arc drop? Yes. I have learned today that it does. I thought it just disappears, to be honest. But I have learned today that it does. I didn't see if they were contested. I don't know if the same team is dropping there again. But usually Skyhook, you can imagine in these better games, is going to be contested. That's a lot of loot for one team. Thank you again, Lineplex, for the timings on... You're saving me a lot of time, and my editor. Actually, I might edit this one. Maybe right when I'm done streaming.
Show me this, but I'm gonna go over to Matafe.
I'm going that way because
I'm gonna go over to Matafe.
We have our buildings that we always get. Wait.
Where's looted? Where's looted? Matafe, let me know.
Only on...
So this already is a big pet peeve of mine. I know there's teams young, but just a heads up for the amateur teams. It's always a little tough when teams are splitting, so it can be a little bit tough to stick to the normal rotation. But if you are an up-and-coming team, or if you are trying to IGL your team, if you like to land in one spot like Skyhook, plan that shit out. Your team shouldn't be calming what's looted. I mean, obviously, like you're all looting at different speeds. Maybe like, you know, they want to help or something, but you should have a good idea of what's looted. The loot paths should always be very set. They should be very quick. Because I think they could actually be leaving Skyhook faster. If I recall, game 1, if the plane is over your drop immediately, you should be out of that shit so much faster than everybody else. They left Skyhook like right as the circle was closing. It's a lot of loot, yes, but it doesn't seem like they're min-maxing their time very well. In terms of actually looting. Again, you don't really have to care about it as much if you're running a Gibraltar team, because you can play Edge. But this is definitely, if you are a team that likes to run Path, you need to be min-maxing 100%. I mean, you should be doing it as Jibby anyways, because the sooner you get out, just like the better it'll do for you. So, right away I can tell they haven't really quite min-maxed it, but like if you are an up-and-coming IGL or team, actually like go into Paint or some shit and chart it out for your team. So that way, you know what's looted. You know, like, hey, like, you know what buildings you assign to your teammates, so they should loot. You know what so you know what buildings are free. And again, always loot together in terms of like call out what you need, vice versa, so people can actually. So like right now, like look where Zerafor is. I swear to God, if Zerafor pings something and Matafe needs it and he doesn't pick it up for him, that's bad. I doubt it's gonna happen, but you should never be making your team move to get something unless it's in their loot path. If it's not, then drop something important for you too, pick it up for them, loot together. Don't think of your inventory as your inventory.
Next to me.
Think of your inventory as a team inventory.
I'm gonna try and make a presence so
All
they
of
don't
you.
push. Helping that.
They should be moving. If they move before this starts to close, they're really slow.
299s on me. There was a
Hey,
light
really
next somewhere,
pumping
right?
it?
You just pinged it blue.
This is a really inefficient style of looting. Again, I know if they're a newer team, but like even like you don't need scrims to practice loot rotations. If you are a new team,
I'm really close range.
drop in a pub game, drop in a ranked game, and practice your rotation. Like practice your loot route, practice looting together, and like getting out and time yourself too. Because keep in mind, depending on depending on where the plane is,
Can someone carry zip it? Take this.
that matters too.
I need more ammo.
Where was it behind?
Bottom floor.
Like I said, if this timing that they're hitting right now, if this plane started out in Lava City and Skyhook was the last part of it, then it's understandable for them to be a little bit late, but that means you gotta like almost sometimes sacrifice some loot, right? Because again, you have to take the plane path into account. If your stop is the first stop, you you're gonna be so much faster than everybody else. So much faster. So you either have to like, you can choose to loot a little bit more and sacrifice potential positioning, or you can loot fast as fuck, get out, and even have a stronger spot than most people. So the plane path matters, and because that is going to dwindle or help your time depending on where it is. Always keep that into account too. But they definitely, this loot route is, they could have done a lot better. I think for the actual Texas major, they need to work on their actual min-maxing of their loot route. It's very sloppy. They again, and keep in mind, the first drop here was Skyhook. If this was like a more, most teams that have been practicing for a while would have been out way sooner. Don't understand why Watson and Jib swapped armor. Yeah, I don't either. I think like personally, I like to min-max armor to the point where like if we're together and we're rotating, I like to put my armors on the supports. Like have Wraith have the lower armor until we get into a fight or a building, and we swap armors, put the good armor on Wraith. The Watson definitely should have good armor on rotating. I'm not sure why the Jib only has blue. But that's like a next level. That's like a really refined min-max right there. But Jib is also a big target, Cryptify, that's why.
They just opened the supply bin.
Wraith has an oh shit button. Jib is a massive target. If a team like spots a Jib and they have like 2 or 3 scouts, they can team fire him before he even gets his shield down. That doesn't matter. I've seen so many teams focus fire Jibbies and down him before he could even put his fucking bubble up.
Fucking Mirage Voyage, man.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, what Mo said too. There's a lot of teams that focus fire Jibby. Because everyone's a good shot in these games. Jibby's not, his arm shield's not gonna matter when he's just fucking running through a field. I main Jibby for a bit. I was always the first to drop. Yeah, he's the easiest target, and if you don't drop him, he'll just drop his dome and he'll res, and his whole team will reset. Or worse, he'll drop dome. The Wraith will put the portal in the dome, and they'll just get the fuck away. Gibraltar is definitely the target you want to focus fire. So yeah, having him with the blue armor doesn't make any sense here at all. I always want teams to play. That was a nice little sneaky push. Hold on, let me see how this plays out.
Alright, well, I'm in kind of
We can fight. We can make space.
Okay, make
Red mace 70.
Bajel, thanks for the follow. So this sucks. They're in a tight pinch. But this is, again, if this is a Pathfinder team, they're probably just like could be easily fucked. But this is the strength of Gibraltar. They're literally in a pinch. If things really go south here, if you're a aspiring Gibraltar team, one of the best plays you can make is when anytime you're in a pinch, you just throw a dome, everybody heals up, and the Wraith just portals, like I was just talking about. So this is this is a big strength, and this is a big reason why Gibraltar is just a big comfort pick for a lot of teams. You can get away with a lot more than you could if you had a path.
We just have to focus on
Yeah, they're the meat right now, and the bread's hungry. There it is.
They're gonna play aggro on us now.
I need to TP south.
Listen, no. You will ulti right side and we push left. There's one guy on the left alone.
Smart play.
Heal up though, heal up.
That's a smart play.
Let's go, boys.
Ulti.
Because so a lot of people won't throw. I'm assuming their Watson gen is on that side too, right? He's making the call to throw the Watson to the ult at the Watson ult, or at the team that's holed up over there. Even if you throw your ult at like a team that has a Watson gen, you still, like, even though your ult's gonna get eaten up, you still force that team to hide under the Watson gen. You zone them out, and that's exactly what Matafe is calling here. That's a really good heads up call. Because that'll force that team to hide under their gen. They could still probably take shots at you, but they won't be able to get like any crazy angles or anything on you. They won't be able to hold you out completely. So that's a really smart call. Don't be afraid to ever throw your ult out, even if there's a Watson gen, because it does force people to go under there. Oh yeah, or you force them to use the Watson ult, yeah.
Let's push. Watson, minus 44 blue.
So they're actually super split here. They're getting...
I'm coming to you.
Oh, I'm just gonna watch it.
Great
Oh,
push alone.
IPN.
I'm coming. Popping the ult.
Good play.
Stabilize.
Good play. That almost turned south.
I'm holding. Making space. Just heal, you're fine. Just heal. Well played. I'm still covering.
Alright, so we'll talk about that. So, turns out that team was actually super split. So when you ult once, that's actually ideal. It's better that obviously Matafe seen that team was split, because what that did was forced the dome from Gibraltar to use it on himself. And obviously the Wraith can't get back in there because there's an ult going all around there. And I mean, she didn't Q. I don't know if she had it or not. But that's actually like, that ult right there just allowed them to get a free fucking pick and take easy ass, an easy ass point. That was such a good, that's just a good call, good play by Matafe, and a good ult set up by him too, because obviously the Jibby counter ulted. Overall, really well called. Very, most teams would have died there or just TP'd away. They actually ended up getting a kill point out of it and getting good armor and getting some loot. So that's actually like a super good play right there. Very well called by Matafe.
I'll keep you running.
Now this forces that team to run.
Fine.
They have to give up position because it's only 2 of them.
Don't have trenches.
Yeah, so unlike Golden Guardians and sometimes NRG, I'm gonna go back to and talk about the other day how it said, if you're watching the VOD of a team you've never watched before, you should know who their IGL is just by watching the VOD. And I don't know Matafe's team. I know the players, but I don't know anything about them as a team. I am going to go out on a limb and say yes, Matafe is very clearly the IGL. So, oh, they did get the Watson. Alright, wasn't paying much attention there. So yeah,
I'm lagging.
that's just a really fucking good play. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I've never watched this team, but I can tell that Matafe is the IGL, right? That's a good leader right there.
Okay, well, I'm going back to the crates here.
So now they have an insanely good spot where they just hold this spot.
And get his fucking Gibby out. Can you just push him and kill him? Like he's solo. He's right there. Just kill
This
his
is
stupid
very
people.
easy for them now.
Is the same GB?
Yes, it's the same
It's
Gibby.
preference,
Just get him
but
out.
I think most people use
Come
hold
with me.
himself. There are some pros I know of that use toggle.
Okay, if
Like
he
Alberlily.
gets out of range here,
Um,
on in front of me. Keep going. Like we can
I
go
think
for
there's
your
another really like cracked player that uses toggle.
Okay, he's on there. Fall back now.
Forget who.
We're fine.
Well, like, they might take
Yeah,
a
you also
GB.
use ESDF, dude.
Yeah, go back now and hold.
Alright, so let's talk about how they play this circle now. If they're just trying to play for placements, unless they do something crazy here, this is, so I'll talk about this circle and then the next circle right away, because there are a couple ways they can go with this. Obviously there are teams up here. There's a team on Mirage Voyage, and there's probably teams that are rotating like around this area. So ideally, they're going to slow play this up here. They're actually just going to play up here, and they're gonna, because they don't want, if they play back here, they can give teams like decent cover to actually like push on them. So they'll probably play up here, and slow play with the circle, making sure their back is completely covered, not allowing a team to push them. Because if they play right here, it allows a team to kind of set up on them. So you notice they're all running back. They pinged it. They're probably going to go back and play back there. And then they're probably just going to walk and play this for the next circle, which is great. But these thermal circles are insane. If you're on the north side of these thermal circles, they're insanely hard to rotate into. So as well as this is going to secure them for now, Matafe should be thinking about what to do in the future, because you can either go back and hold this, or he could look around to see if anything happens to already be open and maybe take that instead. Because like I said, this is very difficult to rotate into this entire thermal area if you're up here, because everyone's going to be looking at you. So let's see how it plays out.
Hold all the way there.
That's one of two options that you have.
We fall back to here, where we were now. We all just focus the north side. We don't let anyone come after us.
Yeah.
Are you guys fine? Or are you lagging?
I'm fine. I'm
We're
completely
good.
fine.
We're good. We're still.
Just stop repeating it, okay? Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
like unimportant comms. Like if you're lagging, you're lagging. Nothing you can do about it.
Great call. Thank you. I hate when people complain about things you can't control.
Focus this side fully, all of us.
That shit grinds my gears. Like, don't
wanna
tie
see
up
it.
comms because you're lagging.
I wanna save it.
Unless like it's all of a sudden like randomly like, oh fuck, I'm lagging, then that means your team knows that you can't be in the fight.
Yeah.
But if they've been constantly lagging, like, don't stop complaining about that. I hate people that
We
complain
can go a bit more aggro, guys,
when they
and
could
fall
be
back.
saying
Like,
something
up
more
to that.
important.
Go up to that.
No offense to
Like, we
whoever
have
that was that
multiple
said
lines of
it.
defense, you know? We can fall back.
I'm just saying, like, that's like, that's a lesson to you guys, is like,
Make presence, make
if your
sense.
teammates are making stupid like complaining
Taking shots
calls,
in the back.
tell
Go a bit
them
aggressive.
to stop
One got
complaining.
knocked.
That's not only constructive shit. Only constructive.
One is knocked. I'm thirsting. Play aggro on this.
They're playing down.
Yeah, just hold here. It's still two teams, you can just hold.
One left. I'm gonna hold one left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good thing.
exactly, X. You can tell that he has just, he
Aaron,
possesses good leadership
I'm
qualities.
gonna go bit aggro because they don't have. No, team on top. Fall back. Team on top still. Fall back. Just keep controlling.
And you can
this
tell
side.
everything they do is on the same page. This is making a really good team. They respect his calls. He makes good calls.
40 seconds.
Yeah.
This is good. I like
Setting
this.
up million of fences.
They're moving, they're making TP left. Over here.
They can't get through all my fences. Watch out, this fence is not ours, okay?
Yeah. Fine,
Make
fine.
TP to the right side, not to the They're fighting.
A lot of teams will die in this zone, guys. We get a lot
Very
of points,
true.
so just keep holding.
What's up,
Anytime you see a lot of choked teams, a lot of like
Just keep holding.
corner circles like this with big chokes, yeah, a lot of teams are gonna die.
As much presence as you can without dying.
Fine. Yeah.
Give you one, give you one.
Oh, he's 16? Holy shit, I thought he was older than that.
Try to test,
Damn,
but
then
don't
yeah,
go for too much.
that's common in a lot of younger players.
Try to 3P this then.
because
Go-
they're
go
just not
aggro.
as
They just
experienced.
wiped the team. Don't let them
Like
recover.
Matafe, you can tell is definitely a little bit older than 16.
Where are
So
they?
most players are a little bit more like we've all experienced shit comms and we're like, please don't do that, you know. For a lot of people, this is their first super
Guys,
ultra
run,
competitive
run,
game.
run, run. Zone 3,
They are
yeah.
gonna make some bad. He didn't need to dome there.
We might get kept, so be ready together.
That could fuck
Oh,
them.
good. Fuck the dome shit, okay.
Yeah.
I hope I
As an
hope no
IGL, when my dome is wasted, I'm like, oh fuck. Because right now, if any team decided to take this instead and hold them out, now they're fucked. Now they're completely fucked. You need the dome on a rotation if you're playing Gibraltar. I would be shitting myself too, I'm sure he is as well. He's praying to God that no one's holding out where they were, right? That's the biggest thing you have to be worried about when you give up a spot to like go gatekeep, is you have to make sure no one's taking your spot back, and if they are, definitely make sure you have the dome.
We're good.
I think we're good, yeah.
I'm taking like
Did you get a kill for that? Did you get a kill for that?
No,
Yeah, we did. I thirsted her. I thirsted watching, dude.
Just how many kills you have? Tell me.
One.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
18 is still young. Like, obviously, like, you're cracked
I killed one
and you
more
can
guy.
easily be
Keep
involved in
going.
esports. But, like, people, I think,
got
underestimate how much experience really fucking matters. Like, this is why Frexes, for example, I hold Frex in such high regards as an IGL. He's been through it all, man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. This rotation is now, all of a sudden, really fucking hard because of this lava, the zip lines, all that shit. It's doable. But again, this is also, like, if you remember the early... I talk a lot about, like, deep pocket, like, positions. The DPPs, I'm just going to refer to them as DPPs. A lot of these teams that were sitting here not fighting anybody for the longest time now have a free-ass rotation, and now they're fucking beaming anyone trying to come in. And thermal is tough, dude. It's hard. There's so much lava, and it actually makes it tough if you're on the outside here, on the north side, or even on the east to rotate in. Because you have to basically be exposed for a little bit if you're, like, manually pushing through. On top of out here, there really is not much cover. A lot of teams are going to die coming into this circle. You're going to see the north side mostly congested. Probably like 1 or 2 teams around here, basically firing on everyone else.
I think we do a wide right rotation, TP to there, and then we try to work in like we usually do down there.
Yeah, I think we do that as well.
Yeah, I feel bad because of their performance, but I think I do firmly believe that Frex, NRG with Frex is the strongest that they've ever been. They just have a lot to figure out.
Just make a TP.
I don't think Frex
Fine,
has
make
the
a
same amount of
Whole team
like
just rotated
respect
here.
from his team as Matafe does, for
Fine, just
example.
TP us over.
Like Frex is one of the smartest fucking players in this game, 100%.
Taking it.
But you can see Zipif and Zerfer listen to everything Matafe says, and it's not quite like that on NRG. They
Kill this. Fuck.
late game,
Keep moving forward, guys. Keep
Late
moving
game,
forward.
NRG
Zone is
just-
more important now. We can play
everyone
this
does their own thing, and that's where they fall apart late game. There's never like even when Frex yells for them to do something, they just don't, and they need to work that out. They need to like have a meeting and just be like, yo,
It's a good be behind us,
anything
behind
one
us.
person says, and they designate who it is.
Take this building.
There's
and,
no way this building's
focus
free,
these
holy
guys.
shit.
Okay, force them away.
Just wait. I'm getting shot.
You can get to us? Like, you're fine, right? I mean, we just start doing pressure on them. Go.
I'm surprised this building is open.
Double blue.
Maybe I think the team that was holding it probably took the
Are
strongest
they
spot
still
over
in
there.
next zone?
I'm getting shot from Narnia here, dude.
Yeah, they're still in next zone. I think we
I
might
can't
have to fight them.
I can't grave.
Yeah, just go roof, play headshot.
I'm getting shot over
Yeah,
over
for
here.
sure.
I get it, you are, but play a different angle then. I hear you.
They still have a lot to work on, but I think if they tie those loose ends on their
I'm gonna
team,
try and nade.
tie the knots on that shit, bro, I think NRG
no,
will be
they're
just
taking
as
it.
good as TSM and Sentinels.
No, you.
They just need to like get their shit together in the late game, and they need to work on.
Yeah. You guys need to play aggro on this, I think.
They have a lot to work on. It's a matter. At this point, it's a matter of if they have the passion and desire
because they're all gonna be stuck there.
to do it.
Do ult that now, ult it now.
Wait.
And you,
So this is actually a really smart push because every team is gonna be fucking up here, like trying to fucking fight for their way in here. So this is actually like, even though the circle is really small, this is actually a really like isolated push. Obviously you don't make this push unless you get their Watson ult, which they did. So I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw them go for. So this is actually like a really smart play too. Most teams wouldn't push that hard unless like they got like a pick or like a shit ton of damage down. But this will be an isolated push only because so many teams are congested up here, and obviously Matafe knows that.
You guys need to do our play. You guys need to do our play.
I'm destroyed. Hold me, hold me.
Holding.
Good calls. Good calls.
Oh, but we're in a
On
bad position
requesting
to do it,
help.
You need to get to stairs.
Always respect your teammates when they say I need your help, like hold my angle or something. A lot of teammates don't.
Okay, okay, do it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Keep out tester.
I got knocked. Two crack.
Cracked him. He's low. He's one. He's blocking everything. Nice. Crawl.
Good fight.
Where are you?
That's huge. Now they have one of the strongest spots in the game, only because it's most of the team. Only not so much because of the actual like terrain advantage of this place,
Can we?
but obviously which it holds a lot. But right now, depending on where the circle goes, they are not going to be a major focus for most teams. Most
We are in a good
they got
position.
lucky.
We just play.
They got really lucky.
Play, play.
Like, we get
They didn't kill
there
it.
right
Alright. I was talking a lot when it happened, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, I
But
think we get there now.
now they
Yeah,
can
go
easily.
for
They
it.
can. I mean, they can go and set up right now. But if they do, they do run the risk of another team taking this and then poking them out of the safe zone. So it's not a bad idea for them to just walk it in slowly here.
Sorry, boys, I got thirsty by the
But especially, oh yeah, especially with Zerfer down. Zerfer definitely needed to queue faster. I saw him taking a lot more shots than he probably needed to. But if they rotate now, more than likely they'll just get poked out. At the same time, though, it's rough when they don't have the Wraith. So if they play here and just create a strong enough presence between the two of them, and their Watson ult doesn't get destroyed, they can actually hold out pretty easily here to the point where like they'll at least secure a shit ton of placement.
It's fine. Yeah.
And they probably should do that because it is Watson and Wraith. Or I mean, Watson and Chibi.
Looks like he's a red. Looks like he's a red.
I'm gonna arc you.
Do. Go. He's running your side. Nice. He's there. Shoot him. He fell down. Stairs.
I'm surprised that Chibi did not come through that portal with that from that team.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Hold where we are.
Yeah,
So now every team is basically gonna kill each other fucking going off here. Every team's gonna die like out here.
We set at the back of this. We set at the back of this.
Yeah, I'm just fencing.
Yeah, nice.
Drop armor and take new one.
Stop,
Like
stop, stop.
look at this fucking
Just play,
spot,
guys.
bro.
Stop
Like
panicking,
what
please,
the hell?
everyone.
Keep coming
We are completely fine. Just hold.
Good fucking way to fucking reel your team back in,
Maybe
Matafe.
try move to there even.
Gaining a lot of respect for him as a player. Not that I didn't respect him before, but everything he's doing is right now. Yeah, no, this isn't an EU NA thing. This is a tough circle, man. This is a really tough circle to deal with.
Team rotating left. I think.
I'm ulting right. Just to try to clear it up.
Yeah. Good. Everyone's gonna be killing each other.
But this is a good example of like your rate doesn't have to be IGL.
They're in the
But I
open
think
a lot.
it's the most ideal situation, but you don't have to have it
Yeah, they're-
that way.
I'm watching our flanks, dude. Let me
That's
play.
it. Kibo there alone. Can you push together this guy? He's solo. Come.
1 second. Right side, pushing up right now. Behind this.
I'm taking 1v1. Kill them.
Nice one.
Take it.
He's got to get back, dude. I mean, he's good, put some good shots, but dude,
Yeah.
Woo.
Now I can't.
He's cracked. Matafe.
nice. He's got the edge though. There's some good shots though. Nice. Holy shit, he's fucking clapping.
2 guys cracked in there. Burning.
They're pushing you, Matafe.
No, they're pushing the other guy. Nice. Fall back to our position. I have gold backpack. Open gold excel. Need it.
Crack to the
Keep
right.
blocking. There's a red somewhere, and this one team.
Behind this rock. It's a right. It's a right.
I can arc him if you want. So we get the second place for sure. I think I missed. Yeah, do you have your ult again?
No, I don't.
Call on. I have ult excel for you.
47.
Oh my god, they might push. Hold. You have to. Are you good?
I'm head Christian.
Still
Pop ult excel. Pop ult excel. If you can.
How far? This is the second
Excel
game.
right now.
I'm gonna ulti these guys.
Basically, so they're in the best spot right now. They keep getting in the circle.
As long as you can.
Both these teams have to rotate in.
Break
Yeah.
it open, break cracked. Maybe a little
Let's
bit
go
fast.
right, kick it right.
Fast. What's in the open? There. Nice, so bad, popping a bed. Focus left side, we're flank here.
I'm doing. Right here.
Yeah.
I did see this clip.
Front.
I saw this clip because of one of these guys' players talking shit on Monsoon, and then Hal fucking clapped back hard.
He's one, give us one.
You know, we knocked me. I'm gonna try to hold him.
Healing, what's doing? Don't block for him, don't block for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to drop. He dropped.
Hand up, great. Left.
Right here, pump him back.
Stop it,
You are fucking insane.
Let's go, boy.
You are fucking insane. Jet spam.
That was very well played.
Let's go. Fucking
I love it though.
creepy, dude.
One of those, that Jibby on the other team that he was facing was trying to shit talk Monsoon, and then Hal clapped back really hard.
Holy fuck.
Leaking this clip and being like, apparently one player's better than your whole team.
Guys, some random guy thirsted me.
Not just that end game, but like the entire game. That's
points! I'm tilting.
very well played overall by Matafe. Like,
I'm hungry.
very well played, very well called. Really good game.
First place.
Comments on the game overall? I mean, just very well fucking called, dude. Like, the rotations were amazing. His IGLing and keeping his team in check throughout multiple high-stress situations was fucking phenomenal. They didn't really fuck up anything. They literally didn't fuck up anything except for the one play in the choke north of Thermal was really fucking heads up. Very well done. Very well called. To call the Jibby out on the team, on the guy on the right while they push left. That was just a really good fucking. That was very well called. The only thing that really fucked up was Zeriford getting picked. Zeriford definitely needed to queue a little sooner. The most important thing that you have to do as a Wraith if you're arc playing is to survive. They just have to survive. He could have definitely queued sooner. I was watching. He took a lot more shots than he had to. All he had to do was survive.
Let's go train yard actually.
Yeah.
Go south, come south, come south. Here.
Alright, so this one's more than likely probably going to be a sorting finish. Obviously, it could pull fuel here. But, it could pull capital. I mean, it could pull anywhere, right? But, like, I think a lot of teams are probably reading this as a sorting finish. Again, they're not Pathfinder. They don't have to stress out about getting there early. The earlier they can get, though, probably the better. But sometimes you just have to accept that you're going to be late because of how far you are from the circle. So, obviously, you can afford to loot a little bit extra. Harugian, thanks for the follow. But Zero, that was the same. This was the same situation as the last game. The first drop was Skyhook immediately. The plane was over it, and they were still pretty late coming out of it. It's very their looting should be min-maxed a little bit better because they might even be able to get better spots in like whatever circle.
With 19 squads with no kill feed, someone crashed.
Because they're not. If they want to play late on purpose, that's not something they're even calming, right? It's not like they're taking their time looting because they want to play late. At least like they haven't said anything about that. They haven't made it obvious.
Let's hold the.
I don't understand this. I don't get this.
Let's set up tunnel right now, guys.
We don't want to loot here.
So they're actually intentionally not putting the armor on Jibby.
I'm gonna scout around.
That's interesting.
Survey's good as well.
I think there's a lot of good NA teams that can make them pay for that.
Can you come with me tunnel one and one stay here?
I'm coming here.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not about being more aggressive. It's about not getting fucked on your rotation. Right here, it would make a little bit more sense. But every good team is going to focus fire the Jibby on a rotation. Now, when you get into like a position that you want to hold, then I agree. Yeah, you know, swap the armors. The Jibby's fine on the lower armor.
Let's go.
Even then, I mean, even then, a lot of it depends on how you play. Yeah, if Matafe is more in people's faces, which he is, then I'd agree giving him the armor. Most Watsons play like sort of in the back line, so normally, if that is the case, you want to put your armor on the two guys that are in the front and your lower armor on your Watson if you're fighting. But obviously, if Matafe prefers the armor because he wants to be up in people's faces, that's totally fine too. Because I did notice he does play very aggressive, and hey, it works for him. Oh right. I keep forgetting the finals weren't played yet. Yeah, that's a nice little free extra loot.
Because otherwise they'll be there before us.
Yeah. Take it.
Don't ever take. That was good on him. Don't ever take portals alone. Wait for your team.
Yeah. It's two teams.
That's
two
why.
Teams. Yeah, but play aggro on it.
They both work.
Let's go a bit aggressive. Yeah. Do TP. This is free kills.
Yeah, this is a good play to pinch these guys out. They do have to worry about sorting, potentially making a play on them too. So.
Don't get knocked. Whatever you do.
Mayun.
Do knock. I can't take the TP, but I'm running. We got 2 knocks. They will finish. It's fine. I'm falling. Cover me if you can.
That's a smart callback. So that's a risky push because normally when you third party, I mean that's a good one. I'm not saying that's a bad push at all, but just for the growing pro gamers out there, normally if you really want a third party, normally you should definitely wait for like trades on either end, or at least until you can see that they are hard committing. No one really hard committed there, but it was still a smart push because they basically pinched the team to the point where they have 0 cover on either end. So it was a smart push. They got 2 kill points out of it at least. And it was a very good and disciplined call back. Most teams I think would have tried to like stick it a little bit, but Matafe like immediately as he saw the other team, as soon as he saw the other team, he called his team to go back, and that's a very smart call because even if they do damage to that team, they still have to worry about their backs. Anyone shooting out here from sorting, because you got to keep in mind Jibby teams that are like right here, they don't have to move far if they want to like play the edge, so they can easily try to like put shots on them as well. So that's a very disciplined play to call them back. That's good stuff. Why is the most aggro guy on the team Watson? Maybe Zerford's not good at anything but Wraith. There are unfortunately a lot of Wraith 1-tricks in this game.
Like on the headshot. Gonna pull up, I think. Oh.
This is a common ending.
I think we try and fight for high ground, honestly.
I was surprised when he pinged the original, what he thought the original ending was, which was the donut in like the north side of the circle.
There is a team here.
That's not like
here. Watch out.
a real. I don't think I've ever seen a circle end there.
Yeah, go TP now.
Well, Wraith 1-trick? What are you talking about, dude?
Heal up.
I literally play every character. This is the first tournament I played Wraith.
Yeah. Just TP us under.
What's up, Dre?
It's fine. Just TP us
You're
under.
a sus 1-trick. That's what you are.
Just ASAP.
All right, hold on. Let me go back. Dre fucking threw me off my game. Let me go back and see what they actually.
Yeah.
Let me see what he wants to play for.
Yeah, go TP now. On the right.
Let me check.
Let's move forward to here. There is a team here, I'm pretty sure. Here. Watch out.
I agree, Zavia.
Yeah, go TP now.
Okay, I think he's just TPing in the building.
Yeah, watch out.
I don't agree with people being 1-tricks in this game. I think the people that are 1-tricks are going to have a hard time playing this game. I think next season,
TP us under, it's fine.
I think next season is going to be a lot of different characters, depending on how Revenant and Forge play out.
On the stairs, okay? On the
You're
stairs,
poggers
wait.
in
On the
Poland?
stairs
Thank you,
up.
man. I appreciate that.
Oh my god, there's still right next to me.
How two braids? What do you mean?
Okay, how about I take this? Is this open?
This is so risky. He's just chilling with the portal by the door.
Main door. Let's go main door.
There, yeah, right there.
Where's Zippeth from?
Left and right. There's team left
He
and
doesn't
right.
sound. He doesn't have any kind of like European English accent.
Hold it, that's it, I think.
Wait, no, I think we need to take the right side here, guys. I think we just force the fight. Come.
I don't know. I think Forge is. I think it was a double, personally.
Get ready.
No, they're falling.
Forge is
Just
confirmed
go,
dead.
go.
You mean Forge's double is confirmed dead? Don't believe what you read on the internet.
I knock one.
Thirst. One more running.
Alright, it was just a simple arc play.
Stuck here. Dead.
Nice shots. Damn.
Take it.
Really nice shots.
Two teams.
Alright, so there's nothing like crazy tactical they have to do here. They're in a really safe power spot. I think the circle, most of the time I've seen it end here, ended on the north side of the station, but we're at the point where the circle can be pretty variable. It can be basically anywhere. All they do is basically just chip at anyone trying to rotate, like maybe on the inside, on the ground floor. Just hold their ground. Nothing crazy tactical that has to happen here.
Yeah. It's very risky.
Alright, it's ending
We need to fight for
southeast.
that side right now. Come.
Yeah.
Come.
This
Right
is
now.
risky. I don't know how this game ends, but this is risky. There's probably only one team that they need to contest for, but like they obviously can get some real estate right here. There's probably a team up here, and I'm guessing there's a team down here, but I could be wrong about that. They are probably going to get a safe spot here, but if they get into any fight, clean or not, another team is probably going to be coming, so they're going to have to take whatever ground they can get and just kind of hold on and chill. He doesn't have an ult. I don't remember if he has an accelerant or not, so this could be bad if they hold something without an ult, but we shall see how it plays out.
To get this.
Not in slow-mo, though.
Each side. This one.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wait. Again.
Arcing, go, 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 go!
Hold up.
No, you arc me. Fall back. Just fall back. Play back. Behind.
There it is. See, they fight anyone. If it's not clean, another team will come.
Stay alive, we're crawling away. There's still a fight. I think. Crossover, maybe. Can you TP me, maybe? Can you TP me?
I will.
Fezzo, right now.
So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of place that is actually a solid place to play here, but you have to play it late. So let's see how this ends. Oh, they might actually be able to regain this.
Let's do this. Come on, we get a lot of points.
No, that was bad. If they can't get a clean wipe right away, they have to get away.
You're crazy.
My accident.
I called it. They're just gonna get third party. Who's fuck is the self arc? They're gonna be fucked regardless, though.
These guys out, maybe. I don't know.
That team came really fucking fast.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, the self arc is bad, but that team came really fast.
Is there a box?
So, what also is an alternative play, and I've seen actually Sentinels do this by accident, only because they were like fucking Metal Gear Soliding this entire place in a similar circle. So it's probably gonna end out here, but a lot of teams are probably gonna die here. We got 12 squads left that are forced into this circle. A lot of teams are gonna die. They could have, and this is a decent play, but you have to make it late. What they could have done if they had a Watson ult, which I think they have one coming up or whatever, is right under this rafter, the set of stairs. A lot of people don't play this until like they have to, until they're forced into it. But there's that little corner with the boxes and stuff. What they could have done was set a portal, set a portal towards the end, like when the circle maybe starts moving. And then Jibby takes the portal first, domes immediately, and they throw down an ult if they have it. And then they don't want to take this spot underneath early, because then anyone on the rooftop can fuck them, and pretty bad. So they have to wait for the circle to close, or at least get to closing. By then, I'm sure the rooftop teams will be probably contesting each other, so they would have been safe down here. There's also like a little like nook you can hide on top of the box, like right under the rafters as well. Probably would have been my play. I wouldn't want to force it. I see why they wanted to take this area, but I wouldn't force anything because there's so many teams stacked up on like multiple verticalities here that one of them is going to try to fight you if you try to fight anybody here. So if this was open, they absolutely should have just taken this Watson ult if they had it. He probably will have it by the time it's up. No, it's gonna be close. But this is a really like solid like little corner spot they could have played. Anytime you make any kind of like rotation like that, just to teach the amateur players, your Jibby goes first into you set the portal, Wraith comes back, Jibby goes first, or you can force Jibby in right away depending on the timing. But once you are committing to the rotate, Jibby goes first, throws down a dome immediately. If you have the Watson ult, throw it down inside the dome so you have it, so you don't get nade spammed as soon as the dome is down. And then you basically immediately tell your team where to look. So in this case, if they took the portal, they would have to look north and west and above them.
Yeah, but team's gonna play there. Come, follow me.
I have a HyperX Cloud Surge, I believe it's called. Stinger, sorry.
Like, we can play
it's
right
wireless.
Here, maybe. I don't know.
Getting gold strategies for my gold rank games, appreciate you. Fuck yeah, dude. What's up, Fuelic? Hello, Serial. So, if they can get a little bit of the ground here, like just play underneath, or like in this little cubby here,
delaying, okay? We just want everyone else to
it's not bad either.
We're fine.
But obviously they can easily get picked from everywhere else. I wouldn't take that down there now without Jibby, by the way. That's something they should have done if they had like the full team. This is like, see, a team is doing it right now. A lot of teams forget about that area though. Chubby Pleb, thanks for the follow, man.
Keep here, free kill, under us.
I can't.
Right, one shot, right there.
Nice. Oh shit. I can argue on you running. Arcing you, go. No, fuck. Window drop. Team behind us. I'm not one.
God, this fucking wingman is pretty fucking good. Again, I've never really watched Matafe. His wingman's pretty solid.
No.
Ballsy, but I think he's still fine.
You good. You can do it here again.
I think you crawl to him. You crawl to him if you can.
Crawl to me, crawl to me, crawl to me. They're making our play up there. We're fine here, just come to me.
God, there's so many boxes here.
Okay, do it again.
Here.
The drop was bad. They didn't have any other play. They should have done it here. They didn't have any other play because both teams are gonna pinch them.
No, push me.
It sucks. You only have 2 people.
You got some kills though. There.
They made the most of it. Yeah, they got kills.
Yeah.
5 kills, 7 places. That's it's a 7-point game, which is above average of what you want. Most of these, for those that don't know, most of these games, you want an average. If you want to qualify in these best of 3 formats, or just in general, with the point system that's in play, you want an average of 6 points per game. So that's still a solid game. It could have gone better for sure. They were in a pretty solid spot. Yeah, better spectator tools will help a lot too. It'll help paint a better picture too. 100% with James. Genius Cat, thanks for the follow, which they are working on for.
Almost.
They're cracked. Everything.
One up. This guy fucking wet on me.
Give me what's cracked.
Keep his low. Keep his one. Dead. All dead. I'm raising.
Well played.
Where are you?
What is this team thinking?
Where are you? I can't find you.
I'm wondering if like they just went for a Hail Mary because they just had no points or something, but like you never really want to do that if you have low points.
For 3 pieces.
That's interesting. Oh, it's a
Actually, give me.
duo? Did they not pick one of them or
There's a
something?
blue there. I see it through the window. Blue there.
There's 3 people dead.
I don't have.
Really cool too. No. But still, like, okay, so why would you do that? I don't understand. Why would you like loot right on top of them?
If I find one.
That just makes no sense. You can still get decent points as 2.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Like, I just don't understand that play at all. Maybe they just tilt. Maybe they don't have a lot of points and they didn't think they were like tilted or something. I don't know.
This here though, if you wanna take for later, you can.
Next time I look at this map, I'll more talk about like where the circle is, and again like more power points, because obviously they're gonna play it slow anyways. All right, so this is an interesting one. Big chance it probably pulls towards thermal. This is a big ending. Actually, it could be this one, right here, right where the train is. Not like, but like in this little compound. Could pull out to this as well. This is a very common one, right outside the tunnel, literally right in the choke. That's a big one, and it could pull down to these 2 as well. I think I've seen like one maybe around this area, like literally on the hill. I don't know. I'm starting to think it's gonna be one of the other ones that I've mentioned though. So obvious big power spots in this one. If you can hold this choke, it's always good because you'll make sure that no one's at your back. But if it goes to like here, Mirage Voyage is huge. Really big high ground to just pepper like everybody. This house is very safe. You're unlikely to get pushed up here, so holding this house is really strong. I've actually seen a circle end up here. Only one ever, and it was in scrims. So this is a really safe spot if you're a team that's maybe less confident. This house, but yeah, a lot of spots. Oh, these 2 houses are very big too. Actually, very, very big. This house allows you to control a lot of this. This house allows you to control this entire area, for the most part. Well, up to like here. And it allows you to gather a lot of information on teams rotating as well. So this house is huge. You'll definitely see a team hold up here. This one allows you to keep control of the choke and keep like a little reins on this house as well too. So this house kind of counters this house. But this tractor, also very big. You can actually, nobody will ever push you if you have this stuff super locked down. Watson gates all the way around, fences, and then obviously this compound is strong too.
Yeah, I think this is.
Yeah, it's looking like it. Yeah, common endings I've seen here, down here, this little corner, and obviously like this little whole choke area, and then it can end here, like on this little hill. But usually, like, so a lot of these like very, very polarized circles that are on the edge, they'll never be like completely over them to indicate that it's going to be that ending. But usually people will read it that way if the circle is pulled south enough. This one could be a tree ending. I doubt it's going to be way back here, but it could. I think I have seen one here too, so I don't know if I would call this a tree ending, but there are a couple endings out here, like even in the middle of the circle. So it still could be like in this like actual station, and then there's one by like the, if you know, like the little fences with the boxes. I haven't seen this one in a long time, but I've also seen a lot of circles. I think they've, I don't know about you, Mo, but I feel like they definitely changed up the circles to where like they're not, it felt like in this tournament there weren't too many of the same ones. I could be wrong about that though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just see. Let's get closer and see what we can get. Like, I'm not gonna say we're gonna go now because we might.
Yeah, exactly. Max out. Like the Golden Guardians absolutely could be a good team. They just need I think they need a little bit of direction. That's all. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the case for a lot of teams. There's a lot of really cracked players out there that just don't have the proper mindset. They don't have the proper, I guess, knowledge or like game sense to get there yet. Not saying they can't do it. They just need more like they just need more of a push in the strategy department.
I don't have space. White backpack, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Follow the white rabbit, but like I'm not talking more so about a circle reset. I'm talking about like usually when like those circles like tend to reset after a bit, we see a lot of like it completely shifts, and then we see a lot of the same circles in that regard. I've been seeing so many circles all over the fucking place. That's why I'm thinking maybe they changed something in general.
Come. Make an aggro TP here, maybe? No, don't. We're too close already.
Timmy's game sense is insane. Yeah, from like just a individual player, yeah. But their team game is not there.
The 3P just went in.
Zones do pull, aren't you?
In front of us.
And Timmy is their IGL.
150 Pathfinder. Pathfinder is one.
Ooh, Zippeth got him. Nice pick.
He had the Kraber. Push up. Yeah, push up.
Korean Quakes at circles that have never been used in NA
Netting there.
or quals. See, I don't want to hesitate never seen, because I see there are a lot of players that are like, I've never seen the circle. I've seen most of these. I watch a lot of VoDs. I watch a lot of VoDs. No circle really surprises me unless it's...
Taking it. I'm fencing it off and recover.
Nice TP. That's a really good TP.
They won't follow. They got knocked.
Really heads up play from there for... Alright. So it did end up pulling a little bit south of the tree. It could, so now it could be more of that, it could be that corner circle entry. It still could be that one that's on the other side of the tunnel. This is tough. They're getting held out hard. They're pinched hard. Nice fucking flick.
We win this.
Okay.
We need to finish it fast though. DBS is behind us. I'm going to I'm with you. Dead. Thank you.
Nice flank.
Cracked him. Dead.
Really good flank.
On me.
That was such an awkward...
I know.
That was an awkward fight.
Fucking kill him! He's coming!
Get me up.
I'm insta-raising you. Coming, team.
They're coming. Fuck, that sucks.
Tipping.
That sucks.
Just
That's...
stay alive, red as long as you can.
Yeah, that's just not finishing the fight fast enough. That Wraith stalled just enough for them to get killed. We're interesting stuff. They've been in the sports, but this is how sports fans feel about their respective games. Yeah, absolutely. Esports is no different from real sports in terms of like the passion and the drive and what people do to learn to get a better edge on people. How much longer? This is the last game. Knock. By the way, I will be playing. I'm gonna play for a little bit after this and I haven't warmed up at all, so it's gonna be kind of garbage at first. But it's okay. I'm playing with Nocturnal and he's gonna carry me. Wait, what do you think is the difference between NA and AU and NA existing in GameStyle, or is GameStyle the same? I think NA runs Path a lot more than Jibby. That's a big difference. I think it'll be very interesting because I feel like I don't know if a lot of I haven't watched a lot of EU this tournament. This is the only VOD I've seen for EU, so they play super fucking like late, super edge, which even like. And I don't want to like blanket what I'm watching here as like, hey, all of EU plays this way.
Okay, they're rotating there. Just don't
but I know NA definitely likes Path more than Jibby. That's a big difference. Well, I respect this.
She phased before I PK'd her. Like I PK'd and it no regged. She was...
When your teammate is typing to you, so your guy that's ratting doesn't have to hear all the sounds and he just answers anyways in comms. I respect Matafe for typing there. See, I always hate when I'm the last one alive and my team's trying to like brainstorm what happened. It's like, homie, let me play the game first. And we are going to begin. We see them obviously dropping Skyhook just like they did. Again, that's his VOD being muted, not me, not his VOD being muted, not me being muted. So, yeah. So we see Skyhook. How many teams? Looks like maybe 2 teams here? Yeah, it looks like maybe 2 teams. Alright, so keep note, see if they keep dropping at these 3 houses. Because, like I said, last time, it didn't seem like they were dropping it with any real, like, pattern. Dropping Scout for the triple take, interesting. Oh, he got a choke for it, it's not bad. Oh no, I'm gonna skip on to the next game right after Crow. Let's talk about Circle. This is not bad, but this one like I feel like 90% of the time this circle typically is something over here in this little area. It could be down here, could be this one, and it could be something in train. But I'm willing to get. Usually when it pulls like this far, a lot of times like to read these early circles. And I will fast forward to the end just so people kind of like, just because I want to know if it was the right circle. When you see a lot of these circles, we'll just do a little bit of circle 101 for people that don't know how to read them. A lot of the times the way pros read them is based on what it's like centered around. And obviously like, so right here you might be looking, you'll be like, oh, it's train. But a lot of these ones that are like completely like polarized circles like towards the end, and I'm talking about the last like late game circles, a lot of them start similar to this, where like if it's train, it's usually like somewhere like around this area for train, or it can pull this way. Now that being said, late game, a lot of the circles, even though most of them are like kind of set, they vary slightly every time. So it could pull to train, but usually when a circle is like this far west, it usually is somewhere like around this area, or like even down here. So I'm guessing it'll pull over here somewhere, but who knows? Sometimes you truly don't know, but I think most pros would read it like somewhere over here. Dropping Scout as a Watson, yeah, that's interesting. But we'll see how it plays out. He did get a choked triple take. Obviously there was no way for him to know there's a triple take underneath, but he did get one.
It's on the outside here. Oh, let's check this here. It might be still have the purple armor in it, or gold.
Oh, G-Dolphin. You probably didn't happen to watch my VOD review of them last time. This is fast for them. This is the fastest I've seen them leave, actually. Usually, in the other times, they were still looting all of this. They were still looting that while the circle started to close. They are really slow on the last VOD that I watched.
Yeah, it has no one.
This
yeah,
is
but maybe
fast
no
for
one
them.
looted. We can get it for free.
Yep.
OP, Peach, and Arcane drop Skyhook.
You Matafe, yeah?
Yeah, Rise as well.
We need to talk about something after game, remind me.
Oh, two.
Yes.
And a PK for me.
By the way, for those that don't know, because apparently I've noticed there aren't a lot of people that know this, these bins out here are fucking stacked. It has like 4 purple spawns. So sometimes you get a ton of Phoenix kits. I once opened this bin and found a gold and a purple right next to each other. All the way northwest corner of the map. If you didn't know this, there's 2 bins and they are stacked. They are stacked. So,
I will remind you.
You're welcome.
Take 2 Kobe's, 2 frags.
Yeah. Wait, are they fighting close?
I started
Oh,
these.
Somebody
Actually, let me watch
who is
this.
here. Yeah, these guys, they're gonna fight.
So
Yeah,
most
let's
teams,
push.
as I'm sure you probably
Let's go,
noticed, most teams, as per like my circle prediction, most pro teams are reading that this circle is going to be on the west side, somewhere around Mirage Voyage. You already hear scouts popping off at Mirage Voyage, and you see it's already pretty like congested. We got some teams around here, so I'm guessing they probably die here pretty soon, only because again I know they already did poorly. But let's see what let's see if there was any like real like a lot of what I've noticed about Matafe. And I was talking about this just a little bit ago with G-Dolphin in chat, is he's right in the sense that everything seems to ride on if Matafe is having a good day, because his IGLing is so strict when it comes to microing his teammates that if he's having an off day, I guess my prediction off that is his teammates are probably not going to be filling in the void a little bit, you know, filling in the blanks. So we shall see how it goes.
Maybe pull Pathfinder.
Wait.
Let's try and walk up on the right.
We
Like
just
to
need
here,
international
and see
now?
if we can laser
Yeah,
on
that'd
there.
be awesome,
It's
right?
one team, he's not shooting them.
Crowd-funded tournament?
Like they're
That
all
would be
outside the
sick.
building. Like I honestly think if it is yes.
They know about you.
I don't know
Let's
this.
see.
74 on Pat. I mean, you have long range, right? Just shoot them.
Just shoot
Like
them.
we have Gibby and they don't. We can like don't close and shoot them.
No, they don't have Gibby. This team does not have Gibby.
Yeah.
They,
They have
Dude,
Pathfinder.
can I say that I love that? Like,
Just
we
shoot
actually
them.
are in, like, different team composition meta.
Where's the next zone?
That you actually have to identify what the 3 characters are.
We kinda.
I love that about
wanna fight this?
like, the
I kinda
way
wanna.
we're approaching this now.
Alright. I mean, you did IGL, dude. You make a call, I'm gonna follow you.
Okay, one guy's up there. Can we make space to the right? Can you TP us to that rock?
I will. Yeah, it's impossible.
But yeah. Just use your ult whenever you think it's cool, like just to get them off the high ground and shit. It's fine even if you do it now.
I've heard the new meta is going to be insane. We shall see, man. I hope so.
Right, minus 20. There is
Yeah.
rig on it. Watch out. Need the dome.
They missed.
Need the dome.
Already an issue here.
Good. Okay, dome. Wait, I went back now.
Already a big issue
fine.
here.
Yeah.
You see that?
Just
Getting somewhere there.
I'm not with you.
I guess we'll pause there real quick. Or we'll go
Yeah,
back.
Nick.
I don't like to
Dome,
stop.
dome,
Like
dome,
I don't like to stop mid fight. Right
Right,
here.
minus 20. There is
Yeah.
rig on it. Watch out. Dome.
They missed.
Need the
There we go. This is what I want to show the grenade indicators. Anytime, this is for all the amateur Jibby teams that are rotating. If you're on the outside and the team's gatekeeping you, you obviously have to portal in or like rotate in toward a team. Anytime you do that, if you portal somewhere that's like close to a team and they know that your team is there, like they know your portal is there, you need to make sure. It's usually on the IGL, but eventually, as you practice it, it'll become just a normal practice. But it should be called that your Jibby goes through first, because as soon as your Wraith drops the portal, that's when the other team, they're all pulling out grenades, and their IGL is calling nade the shit out of that portal. If your Jibby stands on like the beginning of the portal, as soon as the portal is done, he immediately gets sucked into it. And then the call is to immediately drop dome. 1 or 2 nades might make it through, but that's typically how you play something like this. This is already throwing them for a big loop. Zerfer, I'm assuming he got shot, so he doesn't have any shields. Matafe loses a lot of his shields to nades. And then ideally, if you really need to, if it's not going to be, if it's going to be a prolonged fight, you also throw the Watson ult within the bubble as well, just so you have it so you don't get nade spammed coming out. That's how you usually rotate these, rotate. That's how usually you handle these rotates coming into the circle like this. So, bit of a misplay on the Jibby's part, but usually that's calmed by the IGL, or it should be.
dome.
Okay, you can see what all these nades fuck him up pretty hard.
Okay, dome.
Matafe doesn't actually take any nade damage, but he gets zoned.
I went back now.
He gets zoned by all the nades, so he ends up taking so much
Getting
damage.
somewhere there.
I'm not with you.
The nade blew me back into the portal.
And now they're
Like,
getting
we're so
thirded by
split now.
everybody.
This is very
Okay,
dangerous.
I need to take zip.
Literally, all of this could have been avoided if they had Jibby
this
domed
is-
right outside.
Okay, we
right
need to
outside the
completely
portal.
disengage. We completely fucked up.
All of it.
Yeah. We got no,
So now they're just forced out. Basically, like I said, every team is. You saw that like 2 teams over here shooting at them. Every team knows the circle is going to be somewhere over here. And now they're forced to rotate out because they don't have any other options. And all of that, a lot of this. Not saying they would have won the fight if they threw the Jibby bubble down immediately, but a lot of that could have been. A lot of this kind of like discombobulation and whatnot, having to go back through the portal. A lot of that could have been avoided if they had all just. Or if they had just domed right away. They still would have been in a tough spot, but whatever. They have to cut their losses, run, and rotate around. Good call to disengage at least. That's a pretty obvious
Check
one.
Pathfinder. But they're super big. Like I really think we can just kill them. Like literally just walk up and kill them.
I'm Phoenixing.
How important would you say positioning is in competitive? It's 100% everything. It's everything. Shut it down. It's what separates the men from the boys. It's why you see. That's a good question, by the way. And I'm gonna pause it because I think this is a big important point to address. It's why you see a lot of like the very top teams run Pathfinder, at least in NA. And I heard in EU a couple. I think the team that someone said the team that was top in EU today ran Pathfinder. And this is why. I'm gonna explain a little bit of a. Gibraltar versus Pathfinder, because obviously that's the 2 teams, those are the 2 characters you usually interchange there. When you have, the more Gibraltars that you have, the more Pathfinder becomes more useful, the more Gibraltars you have. That's the way we'll put it. And if you were probably like, what the hell are you smoking? Why does that even, what the hell does that mean? Hold on, let me get there. So, let's imagine 18 teams are playing Gibraltar, right? A lot of teams adopt an edge playstyle with Gibraltar. You know, they're okay with playing on the circle edge, moving in, doing those portal bubble rotations. That's fine. The 2 teams that are running Pathfinder are likely. I would not advise really running Pathfinder unless you can land on a beacon. So let's just assume, for the example's sake, that the 2 teams that are running Pathfinder are landing on beacons, that means that they will know where the circle is before the first circle even is shown. So they will know where the circle is going to be before everybody else. And I know if you watch my other VOD reviews, I know I explain this a lot, but I think it's an important topic to hit on. So say someone drops Fuel Depot, or actually no, let's use a better example. Let's use Skyhook. They hit a beacon in Skyhook. The plane is over Skyhook. They immediately drop and hit a beacon in Skyhook before the plane is even done crossing the map. That means they're immediately going to see the circle before anyone else. They can immediately start planning their rotation. They know probably a solid 30 seconds before anyone else exactly where the circle is and exactly how they need to move, how much they need to loot, and how to get going. The two Pathfinder teams are more likely to have better positioning for the late game than the Gibraltar teams, because the Gibraltar teams have to kind of just go off the first circle, and the second circle tends to pull a lot, like in various directions, and that's the one that's super obvious. So the more Gibraltars you have, the better Pathfinder is, because you are more likely to have a better position in the later game, assuming you can get there early, than a lot of the Gibraltar teams. So it's a really interesting dynamic. When you start to have a lot of Pathfinders, vice versa, Gibraltar becomes better, because then most Pathfinder teams are kind of trying to pile in and get a spot like as far deep into the circle as they can. So it's a very interesting dynamic. I know a lot of top NA teams, TSM, Hal in particular, was in my chat, and he was like, I can't wait to play against all these EU teams that run Gibraltar for that reason, because he knows that they are going to have superior positioning. And let's be real, TSM, if they're in the right spot, they know what to do with it almost all the time. So that's a little bit about Path versus Gibby.
At least more seconds. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. If we need to move, we'll move. If not, we can
Let me analyze this next circle.
But like, they were probably, if they will move now through here, because when they see next zone, if they're still at the building up there.
Alright, so a lot of teams actually are probably going to get fucked here. No, okay, so it actually ended up cooling down there anyways. Alright, so like I said, most teams read it as it was going to be something around this area, and it ended up being, or this. I have seen, I don't know if it'll end fully at this corner. I have seen it there like literally once, but Mirage Voyage has some endings, and then there's definitely a lot of endings out in this area, so it'll probably end here. I will fast forward even if they happen to die before that, just to see what happens. Also, 16 squads left. That's actually a pretty low amount. Well, maybe not. These polarized circles on the edge usually definitely limit. Some teams are uncomfortable rotating into, and they usually die. But this is a tough one.
This is shit.
Likely the easiest course of action is to take maybe this little
Honestly,
compound here.
I
Yep, there it is.
don't think anything else is gonna be playable.
Good thinking,
Or
Matafe.
the rock
the
here.
rock.
Yeah.
Rock there is
I
good
think
too.
rock is.
But that's
but
probably.
teams are gonna go like stay up there
the rock
and then
is tough.
snipe
The rock
and
is tough to
then
hold.
late rotate with TP. It's gonna be hard. We'll see.
Alright, I'm good.
Fence is downstairs. Nobody.
There's a team there already. Pathfinder team.
I think Kuya's team
This is
has
one
pushed
reason.
on the
I
right side.
actually wanted to call this. This is one reason
Just chill
why.
here. Like
This is one reason why this would be hard to take, is because usually this is occupied in some form. But if you're the team that's there, it can be hard to hold. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Like we can laser Gibo here, guys.
It is a fair comparison.
Yeah, wait.
Moving close, moving close.
No, he knows.
You have to
I got
control it,
laser.
right, Bill?
Don't. Yeah. Kill. Even use your ult if needed. TP us out right now. Like around left, where we came from. Take us to where we came from.
Don't fade in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know about the.
Do it now.
Just now.
Made it. Covering you.
Bro, I'm
Pushing
still
push
drunk.
close.
Like, spread out a bit, make some space.
Give him
We
under
will
60.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to fight right here, I think.
How long for your dome?
10 seconds.
I'm
This is
making
gonna be
spaces,
rough.
right? Do you have your ult yet?
Kuya's
Yeah,
team is
I got
pushing
all,
them
I
with
got all.
TP. Wait,
Okay.
They're here.
Chill them. Yeah, let them fight first. Don't shoot the quest team!
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
I only need
Oh,
2
fuck.
damage.
They're behind us now.
Yeah, we're in a pretty bad place.
Can we res? Can you get in?
Yeah.
Nice.
Floor is
Snipe from a mile away.
Yikes.
Leave it.
Somehow this is working.
Heal up. We're fine. Just heal up. Zone is slow on our side. We'll have to.
You know, you
We'll have to
gotta
run.
get your-
You
gotta get your
need to
health
ult them if you have. Otherwise, into dome in.
Is it
Come. We need to start moving.
Royal Crown?
Evo crack. They ulted. Or you
I'm
ulted.
gonna die.
I'm dead. All you.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna die the zone.
Hold on.
I'm playing under him.
Was that north that was by the rock the whole time?
Yeah, we had to
Wait a
kill
minute.
fucking Kuya's team earlier. I don't know.
I'm playing under him.
I'm gonna die.
Them if you have. Otherwise, into dome.
I want to see something real quick. Wait, so who's this on the side then?
Okay.
Who's the team that comes up
Yeah, let them
here?
fight first. Don't shoot the Kuya's team.
Okay.
Fuck.
I only need
Oh
to
fuck.
Who is this
They're
team?
behind us now.
Oh, I think that's them. I think that's the team that was over here the whole time. The lava team. Or yeah, lava fissure team.
Yeah, we're in a pretty bad place.
Probably.
Can we res? Can you get in?
Okay.
Snipe from a mile away. Leave it. Come. Heal up. We're fine. Just heal up. Zone is slow on our side. We'll have to run. You need to ult them if you have.
Triple
otherwise
take,
into
serial.
dome. Come. We need
Triple
to start
take,
moving.
I feel like is almost low key busted. I say low key because people really
Evo crack. They ulted. Or you
I'm
ulted.
gonna die.
I'm dead.
Well,
All you.
I'm gonna die the zone.
I don't know why Zibit didn't get his health up, but yeah, a lot of things went wrong, and a lot of it, honestly, a lot of it goes back to the fissure team. I mean, Matafe is right. They had to kill. They had to at least like kill or push this team that was in lava fissure out. That literally threw everything for a loop. Yeah. So I mean, this is unfortunate. This is one of those times where like you try to be very proactive. You're almost too proactive because you keep trying to. They kept trying to get into other places, but at some point, when you rotate so late, you just get trapped out. This is why I think. A lot of actual like top NA teams that run path and do it very well might a lot of these like younger or at least like lesser EU teams that run Jibby are probably gonna run into a lot of trouble with this. They're gonna get held out. A lot of things can go back to this. It all starts from they rotate too slowly out of Skyhook, because the team that's in Lava Fissure, I don't even know if that's the team that lands there. It might not be. The team that lands Lava Fissure is probably rotating early. They're probably down here somewhere. But a lot of this chat comes from just rotating so slowly from the get-go. Min-max your loot routes. Modify your loot routes for when you have to go far or when you have to rotate, when you have to go into a tough rotate. Always be analyzing that information. Because their team does it time and time again. They take too long to get out of Skyhook. This time was actually faster than any other time. They got out with like
I'm playing under him.
30 seconds before the zone's closing, which is actually faster than I've ever seen them do it. But it's still too slow. It's still too slow. And then the other mistake is we go back here. This is actually like such a small one, but it's also subsequently such a big one.
Yeah, they're shooting
look.
somebody.
It's so easy to make this mistake.
High ground and shit.
Right, actually right here.
I will.
Again,
But
the Jibby needed to be sitting right on the portal.
just use your ult whenever you think it's cool, like just to get them off.
He needs to be sitting right on the portal, and he needs to
Fine, you
dome
can do this
immediately.
now.
Right. Okay, Jibby should have already been over there. Dome should have already been down before Matafe got there. So one nade may have made it in, but look at all these nades in the zone. Matafe out.
Okay, don't,
He takes a ton of damage.
Don't. Wait, I went back now.
He has to go back and heal. A lot of this game was dictated by that one small misplay. I mean, who's to say they might not even win that fight, but they might do enough damage to maybe like back them off, bully them out. Maybe the other team runs. Either way, this is just this kind of set the tone for the rest of the match. It was just kind of sloppy all around. Yeah, exactly, dudes. And to speak back to like Matafe's what I was talking about him being IGL. The difference between this Matafe and the one that I watched in the last VOD, which was the round before this, is he was way more assertive and confident in his calls. It seems like he was a little bit just off his game there. In that sense, he didn't know what to do. And that happens from time to time. It really does, but you just got to bounce back from it. You got to like literally like not literally, but maybe figuratively slap yourself in the face and be like, wake up, make a strong assertive call. Because they made some really tough rotates in the round before this, but it was because Matafe was on the ball, called everything out that needed to happen exactly. Right there, he didn't even mention anything about a dome right after the portal. He said ult if you want to. That's so, like, that's such a gray area. And a lot of it came back to bite them in the ass there. So, alright, game 2. Alright, so let's get actually, like, let's try to see an actual count. I think it was 3 teams that landed here. I think the last round was only another team.
They're
Yeah, it was
way
like 3
above
teams.
us. Be careful. Like they may try to drop on one guy.
I'm curious as to where Matafe's
they're
team
gonna go
drops
now.
again, because this will prove something to me. It's 4 teams. Jeez. Wait, your name is Please 9bang me. Please no.
Radar building.
9bangs ruined my life.
One of them
All
on
right.
main as well. I'm gonna go pick.
All right, so obviously they have a lot of people landing here, but they immediately, and I said to look for this. This is how you can tell they haven't practiced this at all. This is one of my biggest complaints in the other video, even when they won and like did really well. Again, and I'm just gonna keep harping on it because this is a big thing. Do not sleep on this if you're an amateur team or if you're just trying to get better. Min-max the shit out of your loot route. They landed at these 3 buildings, I believe. No, sorry, these three buildings last time. Now they're landing at completely different ones and their buildings are open. You can tell they straight up just have not practiced the drop at all. They probably didn't even talk about it. And that's bad, especially with a place that's loot dense as Skyhook. This is why they're rotating out of Skyhook so slowly, is because none of this is practiced. They're just kind of landing here like it's a ranked game, looting, going back and forth for each other's loot. You can't do this. Even if you're on a polar opposite side of the map, you can't do this. You have to practice this shit, and you have to get out quick.
There you go.
Yeah.
They were 19th, I think, after today, BCJ.
I got all Excel.
I got all the cards on.
And this is why I'm in particular doing them, is because they did very well the round before this. Similar to why I did in RNG. They did very well the round before this, and then they kind of fell apart. So I want to see.
I'm gonna drop my
I like to
alternator and
like.
bring both PKs there. So they
I
don't
like to
get it.
kind of like contrast. Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna drop it here, okay?
More teams need to do this. You bring a gun to your team rather than having them come back to you. Just picking up on it. Alright, so yeah, this one is really when shit gets... It could basically be any of the 3 regions. Obviously, 3 big ones being Fuel, Train, Capital. It's when I've seen these, it's not that likely that it actually ends like here. What I've noticed is usually when it's around here, it tends to go Train. Or even, like, I've seen it sometimes pull, like, down here, south of the tunnel. But these that are, like, kind of, like, a little bit, like, you don't really know where it's gonna go, tend to go Train. But obviously, we'll have to see. It can obviously be any of them. Beak is needed for this? Yes, sir.
This could be the zone here, guys. Or in the open. Or this one. I actually have a feeling it's gonna pull up. From this time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna touch on that. I don't quite understand this rotation. Matafe, even himself, pinged that it might be a train yard ending. So why are they here?
No, not yet.
Their rotation
when we
wasn't
take
being
building,
guarded
we
by
can just
anyone. They
bully
didn't
them
even
away,
test
like, they
it.
can't do shit.
I don't understand why they're here.
Yeah. That building's the place to hold.
I don't think you need to fence anything, because, I mean, I see why he's doing it. Like, why not? But he has the ulti's not bad, because he has 2 accelerants. His team might also be carrying some, I'm not quite sure. So the ulti's not a terrible decision, but at the same time, I don't understand why. I don't really understand why. Okay.
Yeah. Just do as much pressure as you can.
I mean, this
We
is
wanna
why he's
force them
fencing wide
into-
around, because the team, to force them, to kind of
force
like
them
tell them that,
into
like,
capital.
hey, we're not gonna let you through here.
One running right already. I'm gonna get the angle here. They're coming close.
There they are. Hold some cells. I need you guys to help me with presence here.
Yeah, I'm holding.
I mean, ultic cells are very valuable, Mike. Like, it's no one picks that shit up in
They're all
pubs or
three looking
ranked,
for an entry.
but they are like top tier loot.
Coming closer, right side. I got headshot.
in competitive.
Minus 40.
I need to heal.
This is
One
game
guy's
2,
going one
probably.
right. One guy going one right.
Up top as well.
They're up already?
I cracked up top,
Okay. Can you ulti this? Can you ulti this? Can you ulti
Don't
this?
tell me that it's here.
Right side bottom. Minus 50.
We gotta go aggro on these guys, I think.
Oh, you domed yourself? What?
I have to. They were holding me with a Pathfinder and a Gibby.
No, we need to fall back to the building. Fall back to the building. Like, we used everything we had. I don't wanna fight this.
That's a smart call.
Not without the dome.
If they pushed that, I think they would have lost that
Fine.
100%.
Just take the building.
That's a smart call.
Skew out, don't get knocked.
Yeah, they're still looting
Wait,
slow.
team in building!
Yeah, but there's a difference between like an
Bender,
edge
Bender,
playstyle
Bender.
and like just being
Only-
slow. Like they're very slow.
Two guys.
Push him! Push it!
Minus 40.
114 on raid.
This is
Man,
a third
like
team.
what the fuck is happening?
That's unlucky.
The team from behind is pushing them. I got melted by VP.
No, but like, I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
G-Dolphin.
Like,
I think you're-
should
you-
never
I
be losing this though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they could have
Melted by
actually
VP.
ran it.
No, but like, I don't know. Like, I actually don't know. Like, we should never be.
I think you're
losing
right.
this,
I think you're right though,
Like,
G-Dolphin. It just seems like he's having an off day. He doesn't
Like, I'm
seem
not
as
saying you guys
confident
did
in his
anything wrong,
calls.
But like, you just shouldn't be losing these. Like, they just can't push us like that through the open when you're holding up.
He seems so much less confident than he was the other
They
day.
didn't use a single.
Look at this. He actually called this zone. Kind of. He called it a little bit lower than that. But he actually called this zone. He said it was gonna end like in this area. So that makes me wonder why they rotated all the way around. He even like knew in his head that this is probably gonna be the zone. Yet they rotated all the way around. I don't understand that. Toucan, thanks for the follow. I really don't get that. Alright, so this one basically has just 2 endings. Maybe 3. But obviously there's this El Clasico Res Beacon ending. It can sometimes be an ending like fucking back here in this train station and it's pretty terrible. Can also be like one in this canyon. I guess like this whole little area. Could pull out here, but with how like sharp and polarized it is to the north like this, most teams are gonna read it as one of these 3. This is good stuff, but it's 5 a.m. Good night. Hey, don't worry, G-Dolphin. You want to catch it all? Subscribe to the YouTube. Golden Guardians VOD going up whenever the hell I put it up. Probably tomorrow. But Golden Guardians, ready to go. We got the thumbnail. We got everything. But yeah, it's going to be one of those 3. So if it's any of these 3, really strong power spots for them to hold. A lot of it comes down to what teams are comfortable with. You mentioned they don't run scouts. I have noticed, I haven't like heard them say anything against scouts, but I have noticed, Lou, that rather I have noticed a lack of scouts. I know I saw Matafe literally hold a triple take the first game and walk past the scout and look at it and not pick it up, favoring the triple take over it. I don't really understand that. I don't know if it's like we're too good to use the scout type of thing, but that kind of mentality is bullshit and competitive. You gotta do what you gotta do to win. That's the end. That's literally the name of the game. What do you think about playing edge of the upcoming zone and looking for kill points over playing for positioning? Which do you think is better in this format? I saw you teams doing this. I think ideally, Beaver, you want to play for positioning and you want to play for that's like the ideal mindset, is everybody wants a really good spot because usually good positioning equates to kill points eventually, especially if you have snipers. But there are certain scenarios, like if you're a dome team right here, you're probably gonna have to chalk it up to probably playing this one for mostly kill points. Obviously you can like wipe teams and get decent spots, but at the end of the day, a lot of it's scenario based. Like right now, I would not say Matafe's team should be playing for kill points. They should be playing for positioning. They are primo. They should be the first team anywhere here because there are other teams in Skyhook, but they are the team that is landing on this side. Like this circle should be theirs. I'm very interested to see how this kind of ends. And also, yeah, you should be running scouts. The scouts are the strongest thing. I remember, dude, I never like personally really understood when I should be like how many scouts my team should be running until I actually saw former FlyQuest, where like you have 2 really fucking mechanically nuts players, like more than almost everyone else, Monsoon and Lou.
Or do we maybe play here?
And even though they're both
Just-
Wraith and Path/Jibby, they both ran scouts. Like I was talking to Monsoon, he's like, "Oh, we all three run scouts if we can,"
Gonna be under a lot of
because ideally, one of the things that's really nice about the scout, that's aside from its damage, fire rate, and the actual shooty part of it, is that it takes all of the light attachments you want for an R9 except for a stock, but that's like manageable, right? So holding onto a scout, if you wipe a team or later in the game you get to like a really close end fight and you see a bunch of boxes, chances are one of those boxes has an R9 on it competitively. So you can easily just, it's a very, very quick swap. You literally just open the box, snag the R9 and you're good to go. You don't have to throw in all the fucking other attachments. So that's one reason that the scout, even if it wasn't like busted damage wise, is a good pickup. It's very quick to swap all your light attachments. It baffles me when teams don't run scouts. Like, do you think you're better than the meta or something? I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, even FlyQuest, all really in-your-face players that are very good at being in your face. Also, when I saw all three of them run scouts as soon as every time they can, that kind of shifted my mindset to, maybe we should stray away from our comfort weapons and just use what the fuck is strong. Because I always thought, ideally, like, you know, maybe 2 scouts and then like R9 and Shock or Peacekeeper on like your Wraith or something is really good, but fuck it, bruh. Swap that scout out when you get to late game. Or, if anything, run fucking R9 Scout. Like, that's a lot of light ammo you're going to be using. But R9 Scout is a really good combo. Aside from, you just have to make sure you have the ammo to sustain it.
Did we just hold it like last time?
No, because this time it's gonna pull to that side and people know that they will be pushing us.
So, holding the tunnel here is probably the smartest thing or is not smartest, but is a very smart play. However, it's very difficult, especially if we're rocking, if Matafe is running a, actually before I even get to that, a lot of the spots that you want to take in a circle, if the circle RNG'd right on top of you, you know where it's going to end, you need to have kind of like pre-positioned spots that you play. One of the teams that's very good at doing this is Sentinels. A lot of people read Sentinels and they see what they're doing like in game, and then they kind of like mold their play after that if they're not sure like where the circle's going to be, because Sentinels have a very particular and disciplined playstyle. They will play a circle the same way every single time, assuming they can get all the spots. Like, they see a circle, they know where it's going to go, they know where they're going to be. This tunnel could be hard to hold if they're not running snipers. This tunnel could be hard to hold if he's on a 4-round wingman and just an R9. This tunnel is a great spot to screw over a lot of teams from rotating, but it can be very difficult to hold. You have to make sure you have the weapons to sustain it. Always make sure you have the right weapons for the position you're trying to hold, and for the late game circle that it might be. Always be thinking about that. Just because you like Peacekeeper Wingman doesn't mean it's always the best combo, right? Sometimes Scout Wingman is honestly better if it's like a circle ending out here, like North Epi.
Sticking right side.
The only thing I worry about here is
We're not shooting him? Like, he's picking red dash.
so their current positioning is really solid, obviously, to hold all this, but I worry that somebody can kind of force them out here from this side. But it's also, subsequently, it's also tough with this team comp to hold like so much of this. If they had a Pathfinder, obviously the Path like can like queue from, the Path can hold like one super extreme like long distance part of the tunnel, because he can just queue back. But it is a little bit tough when you have Watson and Jibby. You can't spread out as much. So this is a little, this up here can screw them. A team can force them out or force them into here, which is very suboptimal for the later circles. Okay, so it is going to be that train circle probably, or like it's going to be the train one or like out here. But anyways, a lot of the downside here is he just seems to be having an off day in terms of his confidence. He's not calling with the same confidence he did in the round before this, because I watched the round before this. They would get into a really tough rotate, and he would be immediately like, there was one that they did right here, and I don't know if you watched their VOD before this. They did that rotate so beautifully. They were pinched by a team right here and a team in Mirage, and he actually like microed the shit out of his team and got out of a huge pinch where most teams would have probably fucking crumbled. It was really impressive. He called for like he called for the bubble, he called for the portal to the left, and then he called for the Jibby ult on like these guys in here in the corner. I say left because of the perspective swap. Right now he's like choking up on a lot of his comms. It doesn't seem like even he himself is sure what to do. And I think that might be a big weakness in this team because and this is a fault in a lot of these teams that get microed really hard by their IGL. It's not a bad way to play. But if your IGL micros the hell out of your team, if your team like doesn't think for themselves as much, and your IGL is having a bad day, then everyone's gonna have a bad day by proxy. And it seems certainly like that. I don't know if he's just, I don't know, maybe he's tired. Maybe he's just not sure what to do because it is a bit of a tougher lobby. But I'm not really sure. But yeah, like even the last game before this, he called where the circle was gonna be right away, and then they just like collapsed. They didn't even like take a good spot. But to Lebrul, I saw what you said up here. I wanted to address that actually. Lebrul said, I feel like they should just pick an end game spot. Yes and no. Ideally, obviously, if you can get like the house that it ends on, it's fucking awesome, right? But that's tough to do. That's tough to call, especially if you're running a Jibby team. That's very tough to call. And sometimes like the houses it ends on, like yeah, it'll get you a lot of placement, but it might not even be like the strongest spot. You might not get like a lot of kill points from it. I think like this tunnel is really solid, but I don't really know Zipith's weapons or Zerifer's weapons. If they don't run scout, then this spot seems very suboptimal for them to hold. If this is true, if they really don't like running scout, and Matafe is a full round wingman, this is all around just a really weird place to hold. They should not be holding long ass angles like this. If anything, they should have held like train station or something. Because like I said, it was that first circle showed that it's going to be one of these three. So
I'm not even gonna watch the side anymore.
this tunnel is still strong to hold towards the entirety of the game, Delta, because then you have like a severe high ground. You can get poked out when you're up here. Eventually it'll be bad, but if they can get like one of the later circles that end there. Either way, this I'm gonna be surprised if they rotate out harm free. See, if again, and I'm gonna assume that they're just not running scouts on Zerifer and Zipith because I don't think they have been. If I was them though, first off I'd ask, like, if I don't know what my teammates' guns are, I'd be like, yo, team, what guns do you guys have? I would have left this spot by now if I was them.
Like we're not fighting, we're just getting info. Try to see if they're still there.
Yeah, because it looks like Zerifer has R9 Devotion, maybe?
Ult is still there.
Yeah, I saw one guy.
Don't tell me he has an R9 Devotion.
I'm gonna through the road. Watch out, they come close.
Yeah, I know you want to see case when Julian. Yeah, it seems like, wait, I'm trying to see what the Jibby has. It seems like their weapons are really not good for holding tunnel. I honestly would have left a long time ago and gotten to the building.
It might be up here still, like, or main, or out here.
Like they had a free way to go back in there.
Roof of the Vega building from our, but like my rotation would be up there. Take the roof of that.
So this is why holding tunnel is really strong, because now there's one massive rotation that they stopped a lot of teams from taking, and now their back is completely free. But the next problem is they don't have the best guns. So a lot of what they're gonna run into now is they don't have the best guns here to fight all of this range. Now rotating out of here is going to be a little bit tricky for them. Everyone's going to be poking at, as soon as people see them taking shots, everyone's going to be poking at them. It's going to come down to a dome portal play more than likely. But it's going to be rough because everything is taken, which is why I was saying I would have rotated into cap a lot sooner if I was them. I don't care if people are taking the tunnel behind me because, or not, I said cap, I meant skyhook. Because they don't have the best weapons for this, right? If they had at least 2 scouts here, they might be able to like really put pressure on a team and use that pressure to rotate. But now instead, they're going to be poking with, I think, only 2 wingmans. One's a 4-round wingman. You can do it, but it's suboptimal. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point too, Mo. If I was them, I mean, most teams know there's teams in here, or there's at least a team in here. But if I was them, I wouldn't be shooting at people. That's one thing. You don't want to just shoot at everyone you see. It has to make sense. Otherwise, you're going to piss them off and they're going to focus back at you. So them shooting at a lot of people here really doesn't make sense. They're not going to get a pick. I'd probably just lay low, to be honest.
Play the rock right under us.
And now at this point, it's just wasting their resources.
TP.
I was under the impression most orgs do an 80-20 split with prize money, sponsors, etc. They do. Well, not with sponsors. But most orgs, yeah. Industry average is 15 to 25% on prize winnings. But it's not always, like, prize winnings aren't a guarantee.
Watch out left side, watch out left side. Left
This
side is
isn't-
the scary side.
More than just the left side, my
This road is
friend.
even better, I think, here.
But,
Fence is up there, watch out, behind us.
but prize money is just icing on the cake for orgs. It's not where...
Yeah, friend. I think this rock here is safer.
If we hear a fight here, do we try and 3P it?
Yes.
Like, even here, I wouldn't be poking at people. Here, I'm just waiting for the circle. I would be waiting for the circle to close and just see what we can play safely. Like, what is he gonna do with a full round wingman? Nothing.
Oh my god.
Hold
I think
on.
we'll have to go wide there and don't...
Let me see. I just want to see what is his thought process here. Why is he up here in their face
Fighting in the
pushing?
building here. I'm going a bit closer.
Okay, because
Get
of the
some
fighting.
points if possible.
Get some points.
No, holding with me. Fine. I'm dead.
Good dome.
I'm going.
That's a good dome by Zippet.
We're good, we're covered. Good job. You guys have a med kit? I need it right now.
No, no man here.
Syringes? Anything?
Oh,
I have 0 syringes, 0 med kits.
I was gonna say. Thank you, Macro. Appreciate it, dude.
We'll have to TP play it with... Go. Okay, come back.
I got one archer left. I we're gonna have to do an archer player, I think. When we get to
Make it TP.
All right, so
What? Find us!
they have to just cut and
Right
run,
side,
and they
right
have
side
to go
around,
in.
right side
Yeah.
around, just
and I'll dome it and we
Go. Make it, go.
It's getting impatient.
under the bridge.
It's tough because under the bridge is like
Somewhere
absolutely
where no
zero
one else will
cover.
be playing.
Literally absolutely zero cover under the bridge.
And then take it back.
Go, take it back. They might fence it.
A league would be ideal, Wix, but that's not what conducive to what they want to do.
Just delay dome. Play on me.
That's a good call. Good call. Another good call.
Flash, Watson. Dead. Thomas.
All right, so you always, if you're in a jibby battle, or if you're rotating like slow into a circle like this, that's a very good call by Matafe. You definitely, jibby battles come down to the team that blows their load last is usually the winner. If you're going to the straight 3v3, team has a jibby on each end. The jibby that throws his dome down first is that team is probably going to lose, because as soon as your dome goes down, it's gone. The other team's just going to freely poke at you from their shield. So you always definitely want to delay the dome as long as you possibly can. But don't be like too crazy about it where you take too much damage, because otherwise the team will just rush you and take your dome. But that's a very big one.
Archer play the left side. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, not yet. We're fine. Not yet. We're fine.
Did they arc play that? Yeah.
I cracked them.
They just get arc played right there.
No, we'll be fine. We just have to dodge it. I mean, you called it, but I just didn't
Yeah.
understand. What
That
you
was,
called.
they could have definitely
Like,
played around that.
My brain didn't register.
They definitely could have played around that.
That was the easiest arc star dodge we could have ever done. We just all step up the dome. My brain didn't process it.
Like minus 30.
I knocked him. Raising
That
his
guy
side.
used to
Get
play
gun,
PUBG
get gun,
for
get
the
gun.
Knights.
Zip it. Right now. Yeah, he got knocked. Get guns fast. Get PK.
What a power move right there.
Try to thirst. I have a 99. That's pulling up. To there.
They're really good.
There's a team there in the truck already. Let's go wider on left, like we always do.
He's very comfortable here. Let's go.
I mean, I've got R9 PK.
That's a really strong spot that they're trying to take right there.
We're doing this.
I have R9 PK as well.
It's not
we're
really
gonna
long
fight one
range
team.
fight.
Curious to see what goes wrong
yeah, we
if
just
they
have to
manage to get that spot.
Send down a team. I'm just taking.
Well-
okay.
Just don't panic.
Again, if
force
they
it,
don't
like,
have
we
long
just
range guns,
get there,
it'd be
them
rough.
to use everything, then we use everything and we just kill them.
Yes.
I got 2 arcs.
Watch out here on high ground.
He toggle aims. Oh man.
We can let somebody on the house.
Popping ult here. Watch our back one guy. Guys, I'm gonna go fence off the upstairs of this building in case we need to go there next zone, okay?
There's
pretty
TP
smart.
under. Watch out. Fence the TP.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna hold.
I can tell you top lanes. I can hear him click every time he ADSs. And clicks every time he on ADSs. Yeah, well, Alberelli's just a monster. No, I'm not saying Matafe isn't, but
You shot from the big building, L building. There we
the
go.
only game I toggle aimed was PUBG.
I mean, you can play building if you want, one of you. Just upstairs and
I don't
play fences.
think so, Jolly. No,
Just so you have more space.
I'm pretty sure Albert is like
I'm gonna
pretty
start fencing off here.
average sensitivity.
Red's cracked.
All right, so wait, that's a really bad time to go down.
I'm ulting that.
Keep crawling, keep crawling.
I'm one down.
Go under the truck there or something. Or keep crawling, go to, yeah. Stay there.
That's a really bad time.
Q away, insta.
No, it's okay, girl. I'm pretty tired too, so. But I appreciate it on those things so much for the raid.
Our ult's getting griefed from behind.
That's fine.
Alright, so this is very much probably going to be, there's a circle ending that ends out here. Finally open the map. There's one that ends like right here that it could be. Obviously we know there's a select two that end in Overlook, and then there's one down here too. So, curious as to where this one's going to end. They probably, if you are in their position, this is a really good spot to hold, only because you know that for the most part, once this circle closes, nobody else is going to be at their back. All you have to do is hold off this team or force them to rotate somewhere else. They do have to worry about, obviously, eventually rotating over the teams that are like danger close to them. It is the next game that is relevant to griefing, not this one. Okay.
It's gonna pull to there. Is there something you can take?
Yeah, that is a common ending over there by the silos.
Is there anywhere we can take inside now?
Yeah, this building is like what we have.
So the problem with this building, I mean, I don't know how fast they go into it, but you don't want to rotate too fast. Otherwise, you risk then basically giving this team that was up here a free rotation in. And then they'll just occupy this spot while you're in there. And it's just like, you probably don't want to do that. So, the problem is they want to take this late, but if another team identifies that there isn't actually anyone in there, this is why he was smart to put the fences up early, because usually fences are a sign that someone's home, right? It's like leaving the lights on at night means someone's home. So putting the fences there was smart, and it might buy them this house for free. Otherwise, somebody would have probably taken this by now. Yes, Squiggles. For some reason, I've noticed they prioritize the armor on Jibby, the worst armor on the Jibby. I don't really know why.
Oh, they're still there. They're fighting other side.
A little backwards.
My loot really sucks, apart from the Mastiff.
Can you try and kill these guys? Like, they're in the
yes
fucking
and no,
truck. They're in such a bad position.
Every team
One of them is
takes-
TPing, actually.
Every team
I'm
gives
gonna
the
play
Watson
with
the
aggressive.
worst armor when they already have established like their spot.
Cracked one. The Watson. Where they go with TP?
No idea.
Are they fighting?
They're under being there.
Fence it off,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that team pushed.
Look at the
Again,
stabilizer.
Let's
Matafe's
just
biggest
take our
concern
building
needs
for
to
now,
be,
I
I
I'm
think,
gonna check behind us quick.
I'm gonna pop
yeah,
my ult inside.
that's a good call by Zerfer. They need to make sure that they
Yeah, they're
aren't.
pushing. They're pushing.
or
Like they're
zip it.
fighting each other. Downstairs. They don't.
They are.
Yeah, just keep picking at them. Like, we don't all in, but...
One knock. One
One
knock.
knock.
One thirst.
Let's just arc play into this. Can we arc play into this? Look, fast.
Just keep shooting them. They're in the open for us.
23, Watson.
Nice. Moving close.
What's inside?
Waiting.
What's in 43? There.
Behind the door. I'm arching the door.
Okay, I'm moving here.
Sorry, Chad. I
Can't go up.
I don't mean to look
one.
and be so
Literally
tired,
one.
but I really didn't see that shit
Into bed,
yesterday.
into bed.
Pushing the Gibby.
Which means I might do an early stream tomorrow.
I knocked him, but I need to go in. Yeah, fine. You guys win this. 2v1.
Give it.
Oh, overshot.
I didn't grab the armor. It's empty.
Yikes.
Like.
Gonna come over to you.
They really are not doing well.
He's the same Gibby.
Bathroom break really wiped you, huh?
You just res
Just
over there.
revive.
Not talking about that. We ain't talking about that. So they didn't really need to push this. Let me see. I want to see what when the exact call was to push.
Into this. Can we all play into this? Look, fast.
So this already, like, I get that they want to like wipe out kills right here, but this already is a little bit sketch, because you usually don't want to commit to any teams or push any fights unless there are like obvious trades on both ends, because that's when teams are obviously super weak. I don't think they push this fight at all with this team having any down.
Just keep shooting them. They're in the open for
Let's
us.
see. I could be
Break
wrong.
3, Watson.
Nice. Moving close.
What's inside? What's in 43? There.
Behind the door. I'm arched on the door.
Okay, I'm moving here on the other side.
We can't go open. Break one. Literally one.
Okay, so the Wraith was down.
Into bed.
Right here.
Shoot the Gibby. Funny.
I knocked him, but I need to go in. Yeah, fine. You guys win this. 2v1.
Get
Oh, wait, almost up.
Okay.
I didn't grab the armor. It's empty.
They actually just got 1v3.
Like.
Yeah. No, the past 3 games were bad,
Come over to you.
so that can definitely carry over.
Gibby's not dead. He's the same Gibby.
Okay.
Just
Just
over here.
revive.
Let me see what they talk about, because I'm
Close
interested.
that again. Choking or.
Yeah, I'll push the one door, yeah. Matafe got stuck. So
I don't know.
that
Like
basically
I
got
feel
him
like
dead.
you're panicking so much, but like every single fight we try to take, you're insta calling ALGS play on everything, like all the time.
But dude, they're in the house. Like
They were not in the house. They were under the house, in the open, 3 shots. And you're crouching behind the fence with an arc out, when you could literally do 200 damage. Like no one is close enough with you to even do it that fast. Like we never play like this. That's what I mean. Like we are always so chill and we take fights easy. We have good communication. Like we literally make them waste
Yeah.
everything. Then we play.
I did notice
And I'm
that,
just,
actually.
Like, the second we see
He's
something,
constantly
"Oh,
going for an
let's go,
arc play."
come. No, like it just I don't know. Just, everything just feels so pressured and panicky.
A lot of these teams like forget that like the early lobbies were easy. The early lobbies were very easy compared to these. But he's definitely right. Like his team is playing very panicky. They're forcing things that don't need to be forced. When they could just be like sticking. Like a lot of teams are like this. When the pressure's on, like they panic a bit. Fuck.
one bat, 4 songs.
All right, let's take a look at the circle. Next time he opens it, should be.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just.
Like in rank.
Oof. This is also a tricky one. You don't see this one as often, but it can be tricky. Some obvious endings that we got. Right in this little, like, there's like the little fences with the blue boxes. That's an ending. It's a pretty common one. You do have like one in cap out here. You do have obviously this one by like the tunnel here. You do have this one right here, which is a very common one. Just this like whole area is a very common ending. And there's some loose ones in Geyser. This is a tough one. Obviously, I think most teams would read it to be one of these 2. Or I guess one of these 3. We'll throw this into the mix.
How do you have? How many heals do you guys have?
One bat, 4 songs.
One bet.
I don't think they call. I don't think they call the full rotation yet. So let's see what they
Okay,
say.
we kinda need
I got RP,
smart
I'm
dancing.
ready for this. I'm ready for this.
I have mini scout. I'm good. I mean, we don't have a choice. Like, we can either give up or we can go all in and try to like to get to 5. But we need a lot of kills for it.
What can we lose, you know?
Ah.
Our sanity.
He's laughing because he's already lost his.
Never mind.
He's already lost his sanity. That was a very defeated laugh. Yeah, maybe. Jolly.
Reciprocity is
We'll
one of the, you know, best teams in the EU, and they have like 19th place or something. They're doing better as well.
No.
It's one of those days, dude. Look.
Actually, I mean, he still has wingman, so that's fine.
Out.
But man, they are so against the scout, huh?
I hate this
I
tournament.
swear to God, if you find one more purple armor, I'm gonna leave the game. Now that we're already in shit.
Like, he is a good wingman, so, but like,
better than
his
level one.
wingman's not gonna output the damage the scout does. It's just not gonna happen.
Care package coming in. Peacekeeper here.
I'll take that blocking, dropping light mag.
Alright.
This and blue light.
Extended light mag.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
I can carry some ammo for you if you want, because I am not. I have
Alright, I'll go
space.
240, I'm good. Look, I've got R9 PK. I think we just full send it and just go aggro as hell.
A wingman PK.
Oops, sorry.
They should be up here to
Shoot
the left.
VoDs, shoot
They
VoDs.
should be up here, like they usually play. One team, high ground.
Shoot Sheik, let's just try and make quick fights.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like, there's no, I don't know if they just know what it is, but I don't know what game plan is here. They haven't said
You're
anything.
opening out there. You can flank them from the left. if
Like,
you
they're
want.
just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
running
yeah.
in, gaining circle. What's up, Dapper?
I almost.
Yeah, it's
I'm
war
minus
paint,
50
dude.
on,
Man's at war.
35 on keyboard. I mean, they're gonna stay there. We could just wrap around and just fight them.
Left.
Like, I don't think we have time to pick our fights.
Linen
I
2,
think,
thanks for the
like,
follow.
we need to take every fight we see. Otherwise, people will die
Yeah,
before.
Skyo. I've seen this a
go
lot in
wide,
the
like, we go in
rotations.
zone
There's
a
usually
bit,
just
just so
not
we get a
too
better angle.
much of a plan. I mean, right now he's common a little bit of a plan,
take one,
but this is
getting
less of a
ammo.
macro plan and more of like him fighting
Do you guys have optic?
a
Any
fighting
optic?
plan right now.
No,
red dot.
nothing.
Thank you.
Take.
They could be
Yeah.
up here blocking us, careful.
Shooting
that's
someone
the
else. Volk it, Volk it, Volk it.
We're fine, we're fine. They're on the other side of the... I need to shoot the fence here. Can I shoot?
Wait.
Okay, I can jump it.
Yeah, you can jump it from right.
They're up there on high ground. I'm going on top of
Yeah,
truck.
laser, give me. I'm going left.
Get some
I'm going
space, get
left.
some space. Crack, break,
What's
crack, break.
170? What's 100? What's 100? I'm she close.
Break is cracked. Yeah. Push, but not too much.
Ooh,
Ebo shooting me.
Give me crack!
They don't.
Yeah.
that was like a,
Armor
that was like a,
You can arc play, you can arc play. Yeah, arcing you now. Go, 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 go.
Give me that, give me that.
oh, it's LG.
Behind you.
Oh, that's a,
Let's go. Great.
Go for me.
Use me.
Getting shot in the back.
no
Yeah, I'm
way.
blocking.
Okay.
The charge rifle
I
in
did
the,
nothing, that's right.
There is just a carry.
the charge rifle in the bag. Yeah, he definitely choked.
Alright, well,
Oh,
Actually, only took
that's
9
it.
damage in the back.
that's it.
Syringe here.
That's it.
I don't think,
Told you.
what was our best place thing to say?
But yeah, I mean,
Five.
the biggest difference from the biggest difference from them yesterday to them today, or not yesterday, but the VoDs that I watched,
Nah, but like,
a lot of it's just confidence.
there's nothing to say about Lux. Like, we just played bad this whole day.
Yeah.
Like, we had zones to win. Like, even this zone now we're comfortable with.
Yeah, a lot of it's
Had,
just confidence.
Skyhook zone, we had the...
Matafe is definitely a different IGL today than he was the other day. And that's tough. That's part of like mentally like just competing, man. Like staying strong, looking past all the bullshit that happens, dying, a bad call. Don't be too hard on yourself. I don't know. He obviously he wasn't there as much as he was the other day. But yeah, I mean there's not much to say. It really, I think a lot of it comes down to Matafe's like shot calling was just spotty today compared to the calling that he had the other day. He was very confident, very assertive, called everything, microed everyone properly. He seemed very indecisive and just unconfident in everything, not sure what to do. His teammates looked like they definitely panicked a little bit as well. There were a lot of the various calls he had, like, who was it? Was it Zipeth? Calling arc plays left and right. Yeah, definitely a lot more that probably could have happened, that could have happened, that would have been better. But, that's about that.